There we go. I think we're live. Woo! Week off, and we don't know what we're doing anymore. Well, Razor, right out of the surgery room, right onto the podcast.
A true hockey player right
You're
there,
the
right out of
MVP.
hospital and back on the ice.
Absolutely. Well, when guys get teeth knocked out and come back on the ice, I can't let some rotator cuff surgery keep me down and out.
You got two of them.
Well,
Right.
we gave you our, best of wishes, and hey, I hope everything goes well. I got a call this afternoon. Hey, who's picking me up? We're going to the show. I can't sit at home and watch this by myself.
Right? Exactly. I'd be sitting at home texting in going, suck it up, Buttercup. Get in there.
So for those who don't know, Razor went in for surgery at 8 o'clock this morning. Makes a 5:30 debut.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Yeah, he said he's all in one piece. There's no extra things hanging.
Yep.
He's the podcast
Nothing.
answer to Duncan Keith. Right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
For you kids at home, tone down on the windmill saves.
Yeah.
That's right.
They'll catch
No,
up
that
to you
what
later
was
in
it?
life.
Founce said it was
that's-
scraping the pucks out of the back of the net.
I said, hey, Founce, I can pull that puck out of the net with the best of them.
Yeah. Quote unquote. Welcome everyone, Armchair Chirpers. We wanted to just reach out and just mention our very generous sponsorships. We don't have the sheets in front of us, so here we go.
Working without a net today.
Yeah. Reboot Repair, our great friends Dylan and Cameron, they have helped us along the way to produce these shows. They were a huge help last episode when we broke records
yes.
for the top 50 list
Yeah.
for the Stratford Warriors /
Thank
Coltons.
you.
So thank you to everyone, especially thanks to Dylan and Cameron for the setup of that. It was a satellite episode, so it went really well received by our listeners and viewers. So thank you so much, and thank you. Come down to the Bricks and Mortar at 155 Erie Street. Reboot Repair, Cam and Dylan will take care of you for anything you need to do with IT, cell phones. They do satellite services at your home commercial space. Wherever you may need them, they go. And again, we give big props to these guys. They've helped us so much out along the way, and well, let's get her started.
Yeah, let's go. Well, Four Nations Cup. All I have to say is,
Wow.
yeah, that's exactly it. Wow.
Wow.
That was more than I was thinking we were going to get.
Yeah. Like, full disclosure, when it was first announced, Four Nations Cup, I was not excited. You're missing the Russians. You're missing the Czechs. No Slovakia. And I'm just like, is this really going to be a good tournament? Like, are guys going to mail it in? And then, I wasn't even going to watch the first game against Sweden. And then I watched that. And then I'm like, I want to watch the Americans because this is, building up. And then holy moly, like talk about all world. Like that has single-handedly marketed the NHL better than any dollar could have ever done for them. It's unfortunate there's a few injuries because of the way they
That's
played.
a big toll, right?
But
Well, with the tempo that they were going at, I couldn't be more hungover to watch hockey after the tournament. I turned on the game Saturday night, and I'm like, what's this?
where's that intensity?
Respectfully, obviously,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I didn't realize that it was going to be such a big contrast of watching that tournament. Like you said, what did we really expect? I don't really think anyone really knew for sure. But, man, once that puck dropped in every single game, it was high tempo, high speed. Well,
Yeah.
USA and Canada started beating each other up 9 seconds in.
Yeah, we're in Kamoka.
Crazy.
We're doing the Warriors game in Kamoka. Zach Schooley's injured. He's sitting there with the iPad watching the game. He's going, "Oh my God! Oh my!" I said, "There's nothing happening on the ice, Zach," and he's just freaking out. He's going 3 fights in 9 seconds. Like, oh come on!
It was crazy.
Well, I was like you, Razor. I was not, and I even said on this show, I was like, how excited are you? Like 4 out of 10.
Right.
It's just another all-star game, buffoonery going on. And I turn on the game. I was excited to see the game because any team that's got McCarr and McDavid and McKinnon,
Right.
I'm McInterested, right? So, but they dropped the puck, and I'm watching the game, and I'm like, hey, he finished his check. Okay, so they're going to hit a little bit anyways.
Yeah.
And then a Swedish fella busted his hump to come and back check the Canadian forward. I went, okay, I like this. Okay. And then all of a sudden, boom, back and forth. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
And it's like, these guys are playing.
Yeah.
Holy crap, these guys are actually playing. And that's what blew me away, is the fact that I from that point on, after one period, I said to myself, because I told you guys the analogy that
You were speaking with conviction too. You're like, meh. And that's okay. I think a lot of people did.
But it's just a made-up trophy.
Right.
Yeah. But it's about the compete. I don't even think it's about the ribbon or the medal or the cup or whatever they got. That USA-Canada final was personal.
Oh, yeah.
It was so incredibly
There's a little
was
bit
the
of
thing is that the players made it. The tournament is still,
irrelevant.
It's still the Flint Mega Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the players made it real, and kudos to every last one of them. Clearly, there was some kind of chat room going on with the guys that were playing, and they're like, guys, we're going to play. We're going to play, and they played hard, and they went all in. And I thought it was even better, and the reason I thought it was even better than playoff hockey is because in playoff hockey, especially when you get into games 4 through 7, every bloody face-off, there's push me, shove you,
Right.
your mother wears armor boots, I'm going to scare you away from the net.
Right.
All that crap that went on. There was only one guy,
None of that.
There was only one guy in the whole tournament who did that, and that was Brady.
Yes.
Who was the only guy who really never played anywhere important. He's never been in the playoffs.
Right.
So, and I'm not meaningfully knocking him. I'm just saying he's the only guy who's never been there. So they did all the intensity between the whistles, but they didn't do any of the crap outside of the whistles, and that made it the best hockey possible. And I just can't say enough good things about it. It was awesome.
Woohoo.
Here we go.
Apparently, I'm done saying.
Welcome to the show, Chris Chessell.
You've been censored.
I told you that
Again.
email might-
Again.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Thanks,
go ahead, Jess.
No,
Thanks,
it's good.
thanks,
Yeah.
Chris. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, no
Yeah,
problem.
our apologies for not a proper introduction, but our
it's all
old reliable, what's this, number 3, I think, 3 or 4?
I think it's 4. Number
Is-
4.
yeah.
Couple last year.
Patty and a couple assists.
There you
All I
go.
got to say is everybody here knows, and Chester knows as well, I'm not a Brad Marchand fan. But
Should be. But here we go.
that first game,
I'm not going to let you be one.
that
now.
first game when they mic'd him up, and he came into the dressing room, he says, "Oh, I think I'm the biggest fan here." My God.
Well, he's able to, like, obviously he's a shit disturber on the ice, but he's able to talk to Sid because being a fellow, Nova Scotian, him and McKinnon and Sid, like,
And Cooper.
but they're able to talk, in a way that a lot of guys wouldn't feel comfortable talking to Crosby like that in the dressing room. So it's cool. Like, I like seeing that. As
Like
Leaf fans, we don't like him.
He's talking about
Right,
the
but-
Marner overtime goal. He goes, "Sid, you almost put yourself on side. What are you doing, man?"
Yeah, no. You know what? He played awesome. I think I mentioned to Jeff at some point I wanted him up, getting a bit more ice time, because I thought every time he was on the ice, he was making a difference. I kind of think he got lost in the shuffle in the fourth
Right.
line there, and but I would have loved to seen him a couple shifts with Sid.
Well, I think he like in your defense of what you're saying, and without sounding biased, I think he warranted better minutes than 8 minutes in the third game there.
Yeah,
It
I would
just
say that.
didn't make sense to me. That's your one of your veteran leaders, and I know all your guns were going that night, but I would have liked to have seen that too.
Yeah, I think you look at their roster, I still think he's in your top 7 or 8 guys, top 6 almost. But yeah, he was down. But John Cooper's a hell of a coach.
How good is he?
I don't. I just top
Holly's
6.
grinding. Holly's
I like
grinding
him.
his
I
teeth.
like
I like
Marchand,
him
but
too.
top 6. I mean, you look who were in the top
7.
6.
I said 7 or 8.
The
maybe.
thing about Marner, and Marner's name was bound to come up in this conversation,
Right.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because he didn't have a good first half of the tournament.
He had the OT winner in game 1, but
He was
he
non-existent
didn't-
in the
he
Finland
didn't do,
game.
but he didn't do a whole lot before that OT goal. Full
Well,
disclosure.
that and it should be noted that the OT goal was when he played with Sid, and not
Sid threw it
He
back
played
to
2
him. It
games
wasn't
with
McDavid.
McDavid and did nothing.
Right.
Okay, so. But he got better as the tournament wore on. I thought that in the final, that may have been the best I've ever seen him play.
I agree, and it was high intensity. Like, that is only going to help him going forward with the
and that's
Leafs.
what I was thinking. I remember thinking to myself, all the Leaf fans are going to think, okay, now he's figured it out how to play in the big game, and we're going to see a different Marner in the playoffs.
I hope.
Time will tell.
I hope, right?
But he had
Jury's
to,
out.
There's a big difference, let's not get carried away with a whole bunch of stuff, but there's a big difference with playing with Team Canada and the roster you have in the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm not saying that it's like McDavid going back to Edmonton. You know, he doesn't have Braden Point and Reinhardt on his wing. Like,
Yeah.
There's versatility that you have. I mean, I think Marner and Matthews are more powerful together than they are on their respective national teams.
Sure.
That's just my
because they're familiar with each other.
100%.
But like I was talking to Founts there Saturday night at the Irish game.
Yeah, what does he know?
Wow.
I just kidding.
Jeez. Oh my God. Tough crowd. Founts.
Jeff,
Tough crowd.
you missed seeing him. He's got a shiner.
Oh yeah, he got out of line. That's just, I don't want to promote violence, but he clearly got out of line at home because
Right?
he's wearing a shiner.
Yes.
and his wife was smiling like the butcher's daughter.
Yes.
So we know what happened there.
It was a pickleball racket.
talking about Marner. Like I don't think he gets enough credit on that winning goal. McDavid takes the shot that Hellebuck saves off the face-off, goes around to Makar. Immediately, Marner goes down low in the opposite corner because he knew it was going to be a ring pass.
It's a set play, but yes.
And so then
Was a set play. They
Like-
used it earlier in the tournament to success.
Which is fine.
In
But-
the first
But
US game.
the thing though is when you watch him, how he took that pass with his left skate, like it went skate to tape, and then on to McDavid's tape.
Well, like
so
yeah.
effortlessly.
Like he said, he didn't want to have to turn his back to the play to see what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was
Great
an
play.
all-world
Great
play.
play.
I gotta say it. Austin Matthews blew his assignment on that one, but
He should have
Connor
been a hero.
McDavid is
twice.
the best player in the world.
I'm going to do something.
And they get
when-
they
Sorry, go
they,
ahead.
they tend to hide and then all of a sudden appear out of nowhere when you're the best player in the world.
But Matthews should have been the OT winner
Oh, yeah.
twice. The glove save that Bennington made, then on the blocker, and folks, like it wasn't like as if Bennington he was positionally good, but that's just a bang bang play where he's lucky that he was moving, it hits his blocker, but a couple inches higher, the game's over, and Austin Matthews is the hero of the game, right? And
Shigeru won a cup playing just like that.
Yep.
Positionally
exactly,
solid,
and
right?
that's the thing about that position. So like you could do that exact same play 10 times. 5 of them are going to go over the blocker or under it, and 5 of them are going to hit it. Is Bennington a better or worse goalie? It was just he played amazing. Like the glove save he made on Tkachuk.
yeah.
Oh my God, that was like telegraphed. That was a good save. But the blocker on Matthews, that was just like a bang bang. Lucky it hit his blocker, but
But the team feeds off that one, those
100.
type of saves, right? So all of a
100.
sudden it goes into the transition, and we all know hockey here enough to know that like those type of saves are the reason that Canada was able to go down and capitalize on opportunities.
Right.
But getting back to that play where Marner passed it out to McDavid for the winner, make no mistake, it was a great play. It was a set play. It executed properly, and I just can't believe you let McDavid be that open.
like why
in the
Matthews
goal mouth.
went
I
to
gotta-
him.
I gotta say, I've never-
I can't believe it.
Right.
I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to defend Matthews a little bit. And here's why. If you go back and watch the play,
Right.
back before the puck got to Marner, Fox takes a bad line. He goes around the near side of the net to get a puck that he clearly had no chance to get. So now Matthews is in a position to make a snap decision. Do I go for the puck or do I stay in front with the man?
Just to be clear, I don't think that was Matthews' mistake. I think it was Fox's, like you're talking about.
Well, that's I think it was a mistake because the puck in the corner doesn't hurt you near as much as
Right.
the world's best player in the high slot.
Right.
Okay. So he was forced into a snap decision because of the bad line that Fox took.
Fair.
Oh yeah,
For the puck coming around.
he had no chance to sit there to analyze it for sure.
But
Right?
Marner,
So that's all I'm saying, but-
you're right. Marner being in that corner, I think he still should have erred on the side of
No,
caution
and I'm not
until
saying
he walks
didn't
out.
make a mistake. As
Right.
I just said,
Yeah.
the puck in the corner is less dangerous than that fell out in front of the net,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So even if Marner walks out, and buries it,
Right.
then it's still the lesser of two evils, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You got to stay with McDavid there.
For sure.
There can't be any other, unless he comes off the ice and say, my coach said go to the corner and chase the
Right.
puck. Otherwise, you stay with the
And
best player.
we have the luxury of looking at that on the replay forever.
And
Right.
we already
which
talked
is-
about the pace of the game, which
Well,
means he had
and I was just-
half a second.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
and you've created that saying that I really use a lot that I appreciate is it's so uncontrollably fast. That was a bang, bang, bang play.
Yep.
That you, like you say, Fox maybe missed it, Matthews maybe missed it. That happened within like
Milliseconds.
2 seconds, like
Yeah.
2 seconds. It was bang, bang. But that just goes to show, like Les, you just said too, you know, these crazy talented players fade off into the corner. Look at the first power play goal that McKinnon scored with Crosby through the legs.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you leave McKinnon alone? Well, he disappears into the corner, and then him and McDavid are playing back and forth, and they run the set up play. But how do you let go of McKinnon be in that corner of the penalty kill? Well, it goes that fast. That's what happens.
Glenn Saylor used to say superstars of the game see the ice differently than everybody else.
Yeah.
They know where they see
Glenn
the open
Saylor.
spots. They, you know.
And they create because they're out there and they're generating chances. Like on McKinnon's first goal, when he wheeled around and he's crossing, you know, and nothing to take away from McKinnon, but when you're shooting that on goal, 50% of the time it's going to hit someone. Like guys were crisscrossing in front of Hellebuck, and 50% of the time it's going to find, you know, it's going to have seeing eyes. Like, and Canada just had breaks and like that is the difference between winning and losing. Unfortunately, is getting a couple of breaks at the right
Agreed.
time.
I mean, you could think about the first game that they played.
Yep.
If Bennington doesn't let the soft goal in, they go to overtime. There's
Right.
no empty
Yeah.
net.
Right.
They go to overtime.
Right.
1-1, right? That's how close these.
And Holly, you made that good point about the that first goal and how soft it is, and it you noticed it affected the team.
I thought so. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I thought that the U.S. was probably the better team, but Canada had the better players. And the better
Right.
players made the difference. in the
15,
end.
15 cup champions. Stuff
Well,
like
I mean,
that, right?
in,
That
the,
helps.
in the end,
Wow.
who scored the goals? McKinnon scored a goal. McDavid scored a
Yeah,
goal.
and
But
the,
isn't
the,
it-
America, the Americans got themselves into injury trouble like the Canadians did. But when you lose Charlie McAvoy on the back end,
Well, okay, so I'll say this, and I don't
That's
know if it
huge.
specifically happened on the hit with McDavid, but I'm going to tell you something. You get a player skating 37 miles an hour, and you try to hit him, you're going to
Head
get
on.
hurt.
Yeah. Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to get hurt.
Yeah.
The
Charlie's
team
not a
said
big guy.
He got hurt in the
It was
Finland.
in the Finnish
Yeah,
game.
that's
So
what they said,
I saw
yeah.
a video. He gets cross-checked and at the top of the circle, the goalie crease, and his right shoulder went into the post and dislodged the net. It looked like a nothing play,
Yeah.
but the rumor going around is that the U.S. trainers that were from Minnesota, because I guess the headquarters for U.S. hockey are in Minnesota, so that's why they use their guys. He shoots cortisone, which maybe Boston's trainers may or may not have done, so they inject him. He comes into the Canada game not feeling anything, and then goes and tries to hit did hit McDavid. Then he hits Crosby behind the net. Like, I don't know.
Figure it
right?
out.
Exactly, right?
Figure it out.
They get no sympathy because
No kidding.
Canada was missing Theodore and Pietrangelo.
And
So,
Theodore has a broken wrist.
yeah,
It's
So, I
unbelievable.
Yeah.
mean,
But-
that's
What did you see, Chess? What did you think?
I think I think with the right team won. Couldn't be happier for Bennington because I think going in, everybody was very concerned about Canadian goaltending.
Right.
I know I was one for sure.
I was.
And I think especially with that first game against the U.S. when he did let in a couple questionable goals.
The second one, I don't think was.
went off a Doughty stick.
Yeah, that's true.
What, like a Larkin's
Yeah.
game winner, just because it's that a foot off the
but
ice,
that-
stick side.
Oh, the
You
American-
gotta have that.
Being a goalie, I give him the benefit because that is
Bennington?
a tough save.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Bennington.
I'll take
McDavid,
your word for it.
McKinnon scored 2 goals just like
Yep.
it against Finland.
Right. And it looks like, and I'm not saying that you guys don't know, but believe me, when you play that position, especially a left-hand shot, if that's a right-hand shot, it's got to come, 4 or 5 feet across to get to that same spot by the time it gets to the net. Being a left-hand shot, you can deceive the release of it, and it's just more of a direct line. And
Well, I'll believe you over Glenn Healy. I'll tell you that much.
What did he say?
Well, he just I turn it off.
Really?
So
Well,
I
I
he didn't say anything.
okay, I was gonna say, like, I like Healy, but I was gonna say, man, oh man,
There's
he's
a reason why they
goalie. put
put him in an office somewhere and he's not on TV anymore.
Yeah. Everybody's up and the Canada U.S. games were great, but that Sweden game, oh my gosh,
That was fun too.
that was
Did,
fabulous. That
did
was
everybody watch
end-to-end.
them all?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
watched
I watched
Yeah.
most of them.
I didn't watch
We,
that one. I didn't see the
And,
finish.
that's fair.
Sweden game.
You know, it was great though. Like Janet, she's like, well, what's the game this afternoon or tonight? And I'm going, oh, USA Sweden. Well, like, yeah, we're watching that. Like, she was right into it, and like
Nice.
just really enjoying the pace of the hockey, the speed of the hockey. You know, you run into Saturday night, and I'm not talking about any particular game, but it's like, man, this is like Sunday morning.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about on air too is something I haven't heard anybody else talk about, and that's the officiating. I thought the refereeing was solid from start to
good.
finish.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna go all Canadian bias here on you. It was an NHL tournament played by NHL players, officiated by NHL referees
Right.
with NHL rules.
Yes.
Okay, and I think that part of the problem with tournaments like the World Championships and the World Juniors is that they
IHF.
are played by double IHF rules, making rule changes to our game like they know better, using, with all due respect, Germany's best referee, who is a good referee,
in Germany.
and I'm sure he's a good referee in a lot of other places. But sometimes you watch these European referees, and you think, man, there's got to be a Bantam game missing its line.
But if it wasn't,
So,
right?
It's true. It's true.
But it was officiated by NHL guys who know how to handle NHL players, played under NHL rules, and that's why they were great NHL games.
But like, good
My
point.
opinion.
Because if they were double IHF rules or Olympics or whatever, you wouldn't have had the two to
Well, first of all,
fighting.
there's 6 guys out of the game.
right.
Right?
And
9 seconds
so that
in.
wouldn't have happened.
So they wouldn't have had the fights.
And I'm not saying that.
And
you
I don't
know,
care about the fights, but
that
still.
you've got to have fights, but those fights were perfect. Like, they were perfectly timed because it got the eyes. Thank God nobody got hurt. At least we think. Maybe, you know, Matthew got hurt. during
Paul
when they
Maurice
went
is
down.
trying to convince the media that Matthew Tkachuk is not out for the rest of the year. That happened today.
Wow.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
A little bit, yep.
Groin injury.
Right.
So you've got these two Tkachuk Cowboys going out there and running around. And
Yeah.
what did Brody Tkachuk do? Went into a nothing game against Finland.
Yeah.
And put himself out of the
hurt
game.
himself.
Yeah.
Like there's competition, there's intimidation, there's everything that you can do in a hockey game. And I have no problem with the Tkachuk brothers, but you're in a tournament with high speed, skill, everything, and you're pulling that stunt. And
Yeah.
I don't get it.
They should have, you know, and I liked it with Marchand saying afterwards how guys
Got a
should've-
little ahead of
they-
themselves.
They did, and they should have maybe not spoke before the tournament was over. And Canada, let's face it, they, you know, it wasn't like as if they needed to use that as, you know, newspaper, you know.
Well,
to
do you know
pump
what
them up,
Crosby,
but
McKinnon, and McDavid and all them said? Don't worry about it.
whatever.
Don't worry about it.
Whatever. We're gonna see you next Thursday.
Now-
anyway,
We
right?
won it in truly Canadian fashion. Like, you say
Right.
whatever you like. In fairness, though, that came down from the coaching staff. Sullivan said, I want to see American swagger.
Yeah,
He
well,
said
how'd
that
that go?
right from the start of
and
the
he's
tournament.
another guy that I think should be getting kudos, like John Cooper. Like, he did a great job with those guys. Like, you mixing guys in and out, and holy moly! Like, did anybody know who Slavin was before the tournament? Like,
No.
The depth was amazing.
unbelievable.
Do you think that? And I'm going to throw this out to the panel, but I think those coaches are picked because it's more about coaching athletes and egos than anything else. You're trying to
100.
convince a first line center that this game you're going to be third line center, or you're going to be second line winger. Like you have to create a culture where you're getting everyone to buy in. I love the coaching staff that they had for Canada: DeBoer, Tocchet, Cooper, Cassidy.
yeah,
Fantastic picks.
Yep.
Any thoughts?
I watched the American feed. I don't know if anybody else watched the
I
American
did.
feed. I like Sean McDonough. I got a soft spot for him since he called the World Series back in the 90s for the Jays. But Ray Ferraro was doing.
He was great at center
And
ice.
I don't know what Simpson was saying. I like Simpson, but I really like Ray. And Ray said, he talked about the Canadian coaching staff saying they've done such a good job. He wondered if they shouldn't just go right ahead after the tournament and announce these guys as the coaching staff for the Olympics.
100. 100.
Yes,
And
please.
That's a big reason why Harley was brought in, because of the familiarity he had with DeBoer. Like everybody said, there's better. I said, no, there's not a better defenseman out there than this kid right now.
Right.
But it's the familiarity. DeBoer knew what he could do and what he couldn't do.
Yeah.
Right?
You go up and down both benches. Like the American coaching staff was insane too.
Oh,
Like
I'm
so
a
good.
huge, I'm just gonna say this because I want to. Good choice bringing in Trotz. I loved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Loved it.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that for your sake.
Torts, you mean?
Who did I say? Trotz.
Trotz.
Sorry, Torts.
I knew. Who
I don't
he
recall
meant.
seeing Trotz.
No,
there.
I knew who he meant. Yeah.
Torts. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
I mean, and
We'll do
that's
the
the
other.
funny thing is
My
that
apologies,
he's
Torts.
got this reputation, especially with the young guys. But there's no there's no Mitchkoff playing for the U.S. there's no 60-foot hockey players playing in that tournament, or at least not for the North American teams. There weren't anyways. Those guys were 200-foot players, all of them.
I just want to reiterate what you said, Chess, about Bennington. Like he obviously is the reason why they got to overtime to begin with, and and Jeff, you had mentioned about how he was supposed to be the weak spot going into the
When
final
did I say
game.
that?
I think that was me.
Or one of you guys.
Easy. Are you sure? You're sure your shoulders
No, but
okay?
that's what the press was
No,
saying,
it was
right?
that was the vibe, right?
Drugs
That
are
was the
kicking in.
vibe
It
was
was.
Canada doesn't have the goaltending.
Right.
Well,
but,
that was the vibe.
But talk about all he did was go in Game 7 in Boston and win Game 7 there.
So
Then he comes in when all the media is like, like this could be our weak spot, because like fair is fair. He let in the weak goal, the first goal against the Americans, and I love his fight.
Oh.
Like he did not care. Like if you watched him during the national anthems, during the stoppages of play, both him and Hellebuck were like just locked in, and that's not an easy thing to do.
And that's what I liked about Binnington. He didn't get involved in it.
Usually
They
does.
crashed his crease,
Right.
and he didn't get involved,
that's
because
right.
if it was with St. Louis, he's swinging
It's
his stick or
interesting
doing
you say
something.
that, Les. I was really worried about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Ron Hextall.
yeah, and
Right.
like they said after the tournament, they said, barring injury, he is your number one goalie going into the Olympics. He has to be.
Yeah.
Right now.
Like, who else?
Right now. We'll see.
well, the Olympics
Right
aren't
now.
played
We'll
in
see.
Boston.
No, but
a year is a
know,
long
it is,
time.
yeah.
And,
That's-
and there's
that's
nothing
the-
wrong with
yeah.
that pick, but I think that you can look at. I mean, gosh, you look at the goalies that have the records and stuff like that.
Like what happens if Thompson keeps this up?
Well,
Does his name come in and possibly be a cancer in the room? Like I don't know.
the thing you have to realize too is there's going to be a lot more power plays and penalty kills in
Yes.
the double IHF rules, right?
yeah.
So that benefits us with the power play, and it can benefit us with the structure. But we're going to see a lot more of that, and I'm not saying Binnington's any type of problem. I'm just saying you have to unturn every stone with
For sure.
the pick of the Olympic teams.
You know what's one of the great things about Milan though next year is that it's on
It's
NHL
near
size
Turin.
ice. Yeah.
we don't want to go back there to Reno.
No,
right?
no. But I was
2006.
reading the other day that it's not on
Yeah, it's on
Olympic
NHL
ice,
size ice.
It's on NHL ice, which is great.
Yeah, and also another one. They were, what were they? Oh, they were talking about what they're going to do and how Canada can improve. Who do they leave off the team? But there's one guy that had a quiet tournament that a lot of people were wondering why he was there. Was Drew Doughty? He played Drew Doughty hockey.
So good. He
was
made
awesome.
such a
You know.
difference.
Just that calming effect on the back
But
end.
definitely in the room too,
Oh,
right? He's another guy like Marchand.
He's a
where,
Stanley
you
Cup
know,
champion, and that was really what most of the guys
Multiple.
were there
Yep.
because they
Yeah.
played in the big games.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to do in this show is I wanted to go around the panel once and talk about that one guy you saw that really stuck out to you.
Oh, good one. All right.
Just that one guy, and I'll go first, and because it's easy for me because he plays for my favorite team, and that was Travis Sanheim. Sanheim did not play in the first game. He was forced into action in the first U.S. game. I thought he may have been their best defenseman in that game. in a game that their defensemen didn't exactly stand out. Taves disappointed me without Makar.
Right.
And I'll let me throw out an aside there. I've never had the pleasure of watching Makar that much, that often, that close together. And I just didn't know he was that good. I knew he was awesome, but holy crap.
Holly,
he's
so
I-
good.
but Sanheim, I
said
thought,
that.
could keep up with the pace of the game.
Yeah.
He could play the physical side, keep up with the pace of the game, contributed offensively as well, threw that in there, was a plus for the tournament, and I thought he did a fantastic job thrown into the fire after Theodore got hurt.
Right.
So anybody else can jump in.
Well said.
I'm-
Go ahead.
I'm going to say Nathan McKinnon. He stood out. He was deserved the MVP of the tournament. He never once had a look on his face like he was worried. You know, he just wanted the puck.
I agree. It seemed
Yeah.
like every time he had a scoring opportunity, he scored.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Chess.
Chester?
I'm going to go an American guy, if we're allowed, bro.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Just that
What?
one guy. That one guy.
No, just Dylan Larkin. I thought I haven't watched a lot of Detroit hockey the last couple of years. I know his numbers are good,
Teasing.
but I was impressed. And again, just like McKinnon, every time he was on the ice, he was a scoring threat, and I did not know he had that in him. I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Truly one of the better two-way players
Yeah,
on.
I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Because they're not a good team, we don't see a lot of
No,
them unless
no.
they're in Toronto on a Saturday night. But
Right.
yeah.
Are you talking Detroit?
Yeah.
They're on the verge of the playoffs, dude.
Wow.
You could
now
play their
they're
first
coming.
round.
It's been
Now
a
they're
grind.
coming.
It's been a grind
Yeah,
for a
it's-
couple of years here, right?
yeah.
With them.
Holy mackerel.
They've been flying under
All right.
the
Well,
radar.
you
They
may
have
have
my
them first
attention.
round.
They have my
You may
attention.
have them first round.
You better hope
I
they're
would
not
love
very
to.
good.
I would love to have them.
My God.
I'd rather have them than Florida or Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
Touche.
well.
Touche.
So,
All right.
Who
Go
you
ahead,
all right.
loser.
You're-
Who are you?
Me? Couldn't agree more with Les. Nate McKinnon. I was saying to Janet all through the games that Canada played, I just wish we got to see him play more. He commands the ice. He's a completely different player than McDavid. In a good way. It's no detriment, obviously, to McDavid's game, but he's just a little bit more rounded with the full game, if that makes sense, over McDavid.
right.
McDavid's a gem. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But McKinnon is just this horse that is 6 foot, and he looks like he's 6'5", 230 pounds. He barrels through guys.
Yep.
He is hard on the puck. He takes a shot on a 2-on-1 because he's a shooter. He's a goal scorer. And I loved what you said, Razor, in the second game when he scored his goal. And you just said that's a goal scorer's goal. And
Yep.
it's exactly what it was.
Yep.
Just a beautiful player to watch. I thank God every day he's on our team
Yeah.
because he is so good. And, close first 1B is McDavid. He had a first couple quiet games there, and it's nothing to do with Marner and Reinhart. You just need to surround him with people that complement his speed, agility, know-how, everything like that. I like the Pointer move when they put him on with Pointer. You kind of saw the page turn, but I'm just so excited about this team going into the Olympics. It's going to be fantastic. Great choice there with yours, Holly, with Sanheim. Defense is so hard in these tournaments because it's all about offense. And when you have people like Sanheim, he's kind of like that Vlasic back in the day when you
that's
go,
right.
who?
is that guy?
Yeah, and he became very important.
Yeah.
Sanheim's going to be very important to us in the Olympics, I think. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
that.
sir.
I got to go with Bennington just because, there was noise before the tournament, there was noise during the tournament, and all he did was I thought he was the MVP of the game. No disrespect to McDavid, but I thought he was the MVP of the player of the game.
To him not be the first star in the final, it's just like,
I-
okay, let's not watch the game. Who
Right.
scored the overtime goal?
Right.
Oh, he gets
Exactly.
first star.
McDavid had a good game, but
I didn't
Bennington
think he
had
did,
a
and that's funny you
great
mentioned
game.
that because I didn't think
Well,
David had a great game. in the final.
I thought he was creating chances. Like obviously, like it was hard for anyone to play with him. Marner, like Point, because he's a Ferrari, and you've got the other two wingers going, where the hell do I go? Like
You know what, though, Razor, too, and not to interrupt your stint here, but I found myself a lot of that tournament going, McDavid's got to get going. And I don't know what that means, if it was the players or whatever, but he came up big and had some great goals and stuff like that and played well. But I agree with Holly. I was always going, man, they've got to find a way to get him going.
was
Right.
really quiet.
He was.
And McDavid even said that. He said, like, I didn't have a great tournament, but obviously self-depreciating, best player in the world.
Yeah.
But I
hope
just
play
thought
that lousy someday.
But I just thought Bennington
Like,
was
cheer
the
up,
reason. He was the reason
fair
why
enough.
they ended up even
Yeah.
getting to
100%,
overtime,
100%.
right? People just it is a lonely position, right? It's like a pitcher because all the eyes on you. You're the hero if it goes your way, and you're the laughing stock if it doesn't. And so I just thought, good on him. That is like the hardest. I remember Sports Illustrated did a study on the hardest position in the 4 major pro sports. A hockey goalie was rated the hardest position out of any, mentally, physically. Like, you got a puck coming at you over 100 miles an hour. Like they just said, it's like not even close. NFL quarterback was close second, but it's just for him to do that. And then quickly, just for the U.S., that's Slavin. Oh, my God. His stick work, batting pucks out of
How
the
good
air.
of a game did he have in the final?
Unbelievable.
That could have been 4-1, 5-1, to be honest
Right?
with you.
Blocking
the final
shots.
without
Like,
him.
he
Saved that goal with Crosby had a tap in, and he saved that
and he
one.
quick swung it around and knew that Crosby
Blind.
was there. Yeah. And boom. So
Chester,
those are
back
my
to your
guys.
Larkin pick.
Yeah.
John McIntosh says it only took 35 years for you to figure out Detroit's better team.
Attaboy, Mac.
You're on the edge of your seat, Chess. What
One
do you
day.
say?
Okay, there's 2 things that I got to get off my chest. Okay. Mark Stone was horrible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does not belong on that team. Should
Yes.
never been on that team. When you look at the players that were available, about 2 shifts into that first game against Sweden, I was like, what the hell is he doing on McDavid's line?
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
And thank God John Cooper identified it and made some changes. Okay. The second thing was, what the hell kind of optics was Wayne Gretzky trying to pull? Coming out of the American dressing room as the Canadian representative in Boston, comes out of the American dressing room,
Well, that's where the carpet was.
goes.
Everybody,
I don't give a shit.
that's where the
where
carpet was. I
carpet
saw some of this online.
The carpet should have been on the damn middle or on the Canadian side. He's the Canadian representative. He comes out of the dressing room.
Scattered ass on the road? I don't know.
Horrible. It's horrible. He goes by the American bench, hey, high-fiving guys and saying, hey, good luck. Comes out the Canadians. Doesn't say shit to any of the Canadian players.
Except Sid.
Because
Drops
he
the
had done
puck.
that. And you know what?
But we never.
I-
That's what we never
we
got to
didn't
see, and
it.
I wish we would have, because I was
Exactly.
like sitting there going,
The
"What is
optics
going on?"
were
Yeah,
terrible.
The optics were terrible.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything till
Well,
after.
Because he went into the Canadian room before the game, talked to everyone, hugged Sid, called out the starting player. Like,
Okay.
so he did
Yeah,
do his due diligence. But I read the same thing.
I saw
People
this
were losing
online,
their
and I
minds.
was ready to punch people in the face. Okay, why didn't he come out with a Canadian jersey on? I'll tell you why.
Right.
Well, I won't tell you exactly why, because I'm trying to turn over a new leaf with my language. He's Wayne effing Gretzky.
Yeah.
He could come out in a pair of boxer shorts, and he's still better than 10 times better than anybody you've ever seen before, except for Bobby Orr.
Okay.
So he comes out, and he just did what he was supposed to do. He went into the room and fired him up. He came out where the carpet was, and no, do you know why Mike Eruzione wore a jersey? Because who the hell is Mike Eruzione? Played 1 or 2 good hockey games in his life. Tell me about his NHL stats. The next guy that mouths off Wayne Gretzky's got me to deal with.
Thanks, Chess.
Yeah,
I'm right
good work,
beside
Chester.
Way to get him wound up, Chess.
God damn it! I just
it was
made me
just-
so mad to
But
see
yeah,
that.
but it was the fact that we didn't see any of that stuff till later.
Right.
Where was that before the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been
exactly.
awesome.
Well, you know what? And,
Oh, it could have been Chantal Craviat.
Oh my God!
Don't even
even
start with
know.
that.
And so,
Let's go there.
Have you ever seen a worse national anthem than that?
Halser,
Yes, I have, but
got-
it was my 3-year-old granddaughter.
I gotta.
Even
gotta-
Roseanne Barr was better than that.
Yep. Yeah, I was waiting for that chick to grab her crotch. Go ahead.
Oh, Roseanne.
Holy shit.
One of
What an absolute joke. Sorry, Karen.
As you were, Razor.
Holy moly, I'm losing my train of thought here with all of these thunder
Grabbing her
bombs coming
crotch.
out.
What? I just had shoulder surgery, for
Yeah.
Christ's sake.
But when you talk about watching the U.S. feed, like, I'm sorry. Like, I like Cuthbert and Simpson's okay, but honest to God, like, the production is laughable. Like, if you ever watch a TNT intermission compared to Sportsnet, It is like night and day. Like, you are entertained. I'm not entertained by X's and O's, and I don't want to throw people under the bus because of gender and stuff, but I want to be entertained. And I just
Gender.
well,
Okay.
Well, you just
I wonder
basically
who he's
did that.
talking
Yeah,
about.
when Chris Cuthford comes out and says she understood the assignment, I said, "What the heck were you watching?"
well,
She didn't understand the assignment.
Yeah.
She fired nobody up with that. We all went, "Oh God."
yeah, and but the thing is, like, when you watch like CBC, like, the music isn't exciting. Like, it just does not get me excited to watch the Leafs on Saturday night, the Four Nations Cup. I would rather
that
watch
opening
the
on
US
CBC that got me going.
If
Tragically
only-
hip, rolling high dough. I
If
loved it.
only there was an old school hockey coach that would go on CBC and
Well,
voice
right?
his opinion.
Yeah,
If
you
only we had
people.
somebody like that. I can't think of anybody
Well,
else.
But
it was
Razor, sorry,
ahead.
it
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
You know what it is? They're still trying to sell the game down there.
Yeah.
In the U.S., right?
100%.
So that's why they have to go to those entertainment things and have an Anson Carter and Biz Nasty and all that garbage going on, because they're still trying to sell that game.
fair, but
They're thinking we're sitting at home, not need to be entertained. But
like,
Yeah. The
game
honestly,
entertains.
And
but
in
like,
fairness, more
do you
Canadians watch
listen-
the game than Americans, even though they outnumber us 10 to
But
1.
like,
It's
look
horrible.
at all the clips, and we were putting them on our Facebook page of Biz and Marchand, and that is what I want to. I want to laugh. I want to be entertained. I don't care if they went puck to puck and
Yeah.
D3. I don't care. I
100%.
saw it.
100%.
Right? I want to laugh. I want
You're
to hear.
you're
Biz.
explaining, like, and we are, like, as Canadians, and I think we've earned the right, is the most opinionated hockey fans ever. Why are you going through, like you say, X's and O's, or going through a broke up play or a missed assignment or missed a set play or whatever it is? We're going to the bathroom,
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you bring on some rock stars?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a a real way, but just bring in Biz, bring in, like, I like Bieksa.
Yeah.
I like Jeff O'Neill. I like these guys that come in and don't really give a shit.
Right.
Just talk about the game, like you're like
Entertain us.
be respectful, and we're not in the change room, but like, if you want to get heavy on a player, I can't believe you missed that or whatever. Like, I don't know how it looks, but I couldn't agree with you more. I mute the intermissions.
It
It's
is.
it's ridiculous.
I would rather listen to Joe Bowen than the intermissions and stuff. Elliot Friedman's good. Like,
Yeah.
he's got a lot of insider information that entertains me.
Yeah.
But to these X's and O's, and I
liked the
get
American
it.
one with. I never really cared for PK Subban as a player, but I sure like him as a between periods
Yeah.
guy. Him and they got Messier. I mean, come
Yeah.
on,
Messier's
Did you hear-
terrible.
he's Messier.
He is terrible.
Did you hear
I
Su-
like
He
what
doesn't
he
really do or
did
say anything of
there
note, but he's still Messier. He's still
because,
cool.
like,
Remember that
it's like-
commercial with the pylons? That was awesome.
Did you did you hear Subban go off on the NBA All-Star game?
Oh, yeah.
You
NBA
couldn't
is
hardly
in-
miss it. You couldn't hardly.
NBA's in trouble.
And they sat.
it should
they,
be. They
They
deserve
listened
every
to
bit of it.
When Subban was on, I forget the ESPN show. But anyways, he was on after the finals. The next morning, he was on ESPN Studios, and the four guys that were on the panel listened to every word that Subban said because he made sense.
Yep. Nobody jumped in. Nobody
None
cut
of
him
them.
off,
No.
and everybody just sitting there.
I like-
Going, "Ooh, yeah.
I like the clip when Canada scored the winning goal with Messier and Subban up there with the
Yeah.
other guy in the middle, and they're just going at him. They're
Yeah.
just giving it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I got two Canadians on this broadcast with me.
But I think it was that tournament, and just kind of, we can keep going if you want, but it was such a celebration of how great this sport is. I mean, not to
Yeah.
discount Sweden and Finland. I mean, listen, you've got heavy teams, and I felt Sweden played well. I thought Finland played well.
Yeah, considering who they were missing, they've got
Considering
11
who
D
they were
in-
missing.
They've got 11 D in the NHL, and 3 of them were hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically,
Now,
2 guys you never ever heard of, who probably don't even play every night,
Right.
are out there playing against Canada and the U.S. It really was, but still, I loved their game. Their forecheck was really good. They were physical, and that's what we always did. I think we always had as Canadians, I feel like we always had a soft spot for the Finns.
Yeah.
Because they are what did we used to call them? The European country that play closest to our style.
Yeah.
Their
And I
goaltending
like
was
what
a
they
little
did.
suspect.
Yeah,
but-
big time. But at the end of the day,
yeah.
I thought
Was it Soros?
UC Saros.
Saros,
and,
yeah.
And see,
And
I've got him in my hockey pool.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
me too. Yeah,
that's
he's
why you're-
terrible.
That's, why
that's because Nashville was supposed to be good this
Hey,
year.
Oh,
right?
that's
you
why you're
told me that.
That's why you're down where I am,
UC
right?
can't see so well.
Yeah,
Can't see him.
UC can't see.
I think the
Sorry,
biggest thing
UC.
that Finland Canada game when it was 4-1, everybody's going, oh yeah, this is all done. And then all of a sudden they score those. We're going, oh,
Boom.
and Sidney
Boom.
Crosby goes, well, let me hit this guy and then I'll put the puck.
Yeah,
in.
but
That's
the
a
problem,
great
play.
the problem
Hello.
with, the problem with that is Canadians
play.
let the foot off
Oh,
the
yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they
They were good
understood.
goals.
They could have won that game 8-1.
Oh,
They
no
kept
kidding.
going.
No
Clearly they played it
kidding.
off. Like
Yes.
they just stopped forechecking.
But
and
I just liked how Crosby, I'm going to take this into my own hands and settle this thing down and go home.
nope, that's it.
I still think Crosby's hurt.
I do too.
He was
he was okay yesterday.
He was ineffective there
he
the
looked
last
good
two
last
games, right?
yeah, he had a great first
But-
game against the Swedes.
Oh, he looked, and
then
he's still capable of that. And I had a few people ask, is he in the Olympic team? Yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
He's
it's
our
still his
captain.
team.
years away.
Still his team.
Yes,
Mm,
still.
but
No.
1 year.
No.
I think
There's
he's
no
good.
way
He's there
in the
next
top.
year.
He's in the top 20 of the league scoring,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
He's not depleting that much over the course of a
it's-
year. He's the captain of our team next
Yeah,
year.
it's
Ladies
still
and
his team.
gentlemen,
I
buy
think-
the jersey.
I think he's probably a fourth line center
that-
next year.
that's
But I
okay.
think he's
Yeah.
still got.
That's
to be on
okay.
the roster.
Yeah.
That's okay. And
Gotta
I
be
think
on
you're
the-
right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I
Now-
think he doesn't take as much unless Cooper's there again and says, "Yeah, well, Nova Scotia."
I don't know.
Nova
Him-
Scotia,
be
go.
there
Him and
again.
McKinnon together.
Yeah, there's some good karma there. I mean, I think the one thing that shocked me was the fact that as good as McKinnon and McDavid are, I don't think anybody has them playing together.
No.
Like back in the day when
Yeah.
it was Gretzky and Lemieux, they could play together and make some
Like
magic.
them and
Right.
Mike Gardner and
You know
those
what I
guys,
mean?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
those two guys play. See, now you said that you thought they played a much different game, but I actually feel like offense. Like when we talk offense, I feel like they're a very similar game. They're a pick up the puck and go at ridiculous speed and then make something happen. And I don't think there's enough pucks on the ice for both those guys to play.
But that no look back pass on
Power play different. Power play
that's
different
true.
story,
That's
but-
true. But it was still like no look back. That was like Gretzky-esque, how
yeah,
he did
but
that.
that first goal, that's what every Canadian wanted to hear. Nathan McKinnon from Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid.
McDavid, yeah.
That's what everybody wanted to hear, and we got it, and it was.
Yeah. What a start to
But
the
does the
tournament.
can the NHL capitalize on this, or do they fumble the ball and?
I don't know how
Well,
you mess it up.
how do you get
good.
people excited about
The only thing
what's
that,
left in the regular season?
the only thing that's going to happen right now is Bill Daly and
Batman?
Bettman announced that in 2027, this next tournament, there'll be 8 teams.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can put 8 teams in this tournament that are going to be able to compete with the big boys.
I think it's
just don't think so.
2028,
How
isn't
long?
it?
Well,
It's
20,
two-
I think it's 2 years after the
2028 's the
Olympics.
World
No,
Cup.
it's 2 years from now.
Okay, the Olympics are next
Yeah.
year.
Next year, and then
2027.
this
2
tournament's
years.
in 2 years.
Yeah,
3 years.
every 2 years.
They're gonna do it
No,
every 2
Every 2
years.
years.
No, but I
World-
think it's-
the
I think
World
it's
Cup's-
20
The World Cup's in 28.
Yeah.
This tournament's in 2027, is it not?
I
I
don't
thought
think
so.
so.
No,
I don't
no,
think
it's
so.
Unless they're taking
2028.
3 years.
I think,
and
like
then
I
it'll be
said,
2
every
years
2
after
There's
the
only
Olympics.
one Flint
Oh,
Mega
okay,
Bowl
that's
now.
right. Every 2 years.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So, who are you going to put in? The Swiss? Germany?
Oh, you're gonna have a
Slovakia.
German team. Slovakia, Czech,
Czechs.
Czechs and the Russians.
Czechia.
Well, I mean, if the Russians
Bring them back.
I think they.
I don't
will.
think
And
I don't
like-
think it'll be a
Do you
Russian
think?
team.
Here's
It'll
a
be
question for you. Do you
Russians
think
under.
Elias Pettersson is playing hockey in 2 years?
That's a good question.
Like,
Might be selling purses somewhere.
Like,
but I don't know if he's
holy
playing hockey or not.
cripe!
yeah.
That guy is.
How is he falling off
Oh my
the face of the earth?
$11 million a year. That's what that gets you.
Wow.
Tocchet comes back from winning, bragging rights, and he comes back, and there he is again.
He's our
Pettersson's
guy.
at it. Holy Judas!
I feel like the letdown could not have been better personified than Edmonton going into Philly, getting pumped 6-3, and McDavid's a -3.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's
It's like-
that's the
I
hangover.
thought they were giving them all a day off, to be honest with you. And
I thought they were good. Some guys I heard
somebody mentioned that on the
requested it.
broadcast that everybody
Yeah.
had an opportunity to take their next game off. If they
It's
so
hard for the
chose.
captain though to go.
Yeah.
You know what? I've just been in some.
I was
big
shocked.
but
games.
it was
I was
all the
shocked.
players. It was
Yeah, they were all
Matthews
playing.
Marner.
I was
It was
shocked.
Yeah.
McDavid.
It's-
It was McKinnon.
That is
like-
the downfall.
Yeah.
because
Toronto got secondary scoring for the first time in 2 games. Come on.
I tell you, I would rather have watched them than the game I watched Saturday night. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yes.
like that's why, and I can't remember last why you brought it up in our group chat when I had said I would like to see them do the 4 Nations or the 8 Nations Cup if they rename it that in September when they used to have the Canada Cup.
Because the
And what did
NHL,
you
the
say?
NHL does not, the NHL and the NHLPA do not want the summer break any shorter than it is, because of players that go late into June.
The season's
But the
too
problem
bloody
is-
long.
Because the
So-
season's too long, so
Get rid
they
of
don't
10
want to move it.
games.
They don't
the
want to
thi-
move it.
But the thing
still
about it
25
though is
games.
that, like, you know, you get
you put on
Matthew
17
Tkachuk
games
and you
instead
get
of
guys that are hurt, McAvoy.
a month.
They can sit out a month or two where the owners don't like it, but it's way better to have
Yeah,
them
but-
sit out.
But,
But what
it's
do you
always
do-
Been, it's always been this way, though, Razor. Like when the Olympics are on, it's always in.
Yeah.
No,
like
I
this
know,
time
I
of
know,
year, right?
but I'm just saying though, like back in '87, you know, in Hamilton, it was
That
in
was September.
It was September.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Having said that, the season
There-
was
there
over
was also
by the end of
21
May then.
teams.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
and the problem is
Maybe-
in the
maybe the
CBA
beginning.
now, it's written in there is a 2-week break in the season.
Right.
For every
Which
team
they need.
gets 2 weeks.
That's
so
their
now it's all at
load
the same time.
management.
It's like, well, I
Right.
mean, and at the end of the day, like I said, the season is way too long.
Yeah.
The Stanley Cup is going to
Right.
be up against the Major League Baseball All-Star game
Yeah.
in the middle of July eventually.
But if you
So-
like, so you go 7 games, you're ending late June.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of players
don't
want to come
know.
back training camp in August for.
I just think
To
it
get
would,
ready
I
for-
just think it would be easier on them if they had injuries.
Yeah.
Get the injuries out of the way in September. Let them heal. Let them have their 2-week break in February, and then they're going because, you know, like.
But
come
there,
on.
the problem is with the marketing is, again, up in
Competition.
Canada, we're all in with the NHL. You give the NHL 2 weeks break in the States.
In
just
September.
No.
Yeah.
But in February, for instance. Man.
Or maybe not 2 weeks.
No, well,
Yeah.
even a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it is so precious down there. And you know, it's just, we can't comprehend how hard those American teams have to battle for audience.
Right.
Yeah,
We have
keep
no
in
idea.
mind in September, like
Yeah.
February, this is the perfect time because in September you've got
Football.
the NFL for
Yeah.
starters,
Which is like
And
you've got Major
Baseball,
League
yep.
Baseball pennant races
Yep.
going on, and you're going to compete. You know, if the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing Sunday night on ESPN up against the 4 Nations Cup American hockey team, who do you think they're going to watch?
Oh,
Yeah, they're gonna
fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just looking
And
for
like
get
even
it.
now,
I
but
get
in
it.
February,
Injury-wise,
I know,
right?
and I accept
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
in February, what have they got to compete
Fair.
against?
You got college football.
The NBA All-Star
NFL.
game.
the NBA All-Star game that constantly got interrupted by Kevin
Horrible.
Hart, who is like the opposite of an NBA player.
That is the only problem, though, that you're going to run into is owners being pissed off with injuries to their guys.
Yep.
Come the playoff
But
stretch
I think their mood lightens a bit when they get their cut of this gate
Well, not only that, but
sponsorship that they're going to get from this tournament.
the
'cause-
numbers, I think, if I remember correctly, were about 17 million. Watch the final.
Yep.
Was
with Canada
incredible.
and the US.
But it was 8 million US and 9 million
I
Canadian.
heard it was like
Yes.
10
That's
million.
incredible.
9.3 Canadian.
Not average view.
Yeah.
I think it peaked
Average
out over
viewers.
10, but
And-
the average viewers. So basically, 1 in 4 people in
Yeah.
Canada watched the
Right,
game,
right.
whereas 1 in 12 people in the U.S.
So,
watched the game.
and just for those of you who don't know, I was asked this a couple times: how did Montreal and Boston get negated to host money?
They offered the most?
No,
Or what
biggest
happened?
arenas.
Well, is it?
Yeah, because
Bell Center's
21,000
21.
or something like that.
And
Boston's over.
Boston's
20.
over 20.
So you get the most at the gate. You get the most.
It was the
opportunities.
size of the arenas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
But
That's
back
easy
to
math.
Gary's point, it was a no go for this tournament if it was in September. The NHLPA said no. NHL said no. They wanted nothing to do with September because they did it once and a lot of players weren't happy after it because of the length of their season.
Let's face it, that 2016 World Cup was a joke.
Yep.
yeah.
Team North, like Connor McDavid isn't playing for Canada. Let me see if I
Yeah.
got this straight.
And there was some
Sid
stat.
Crosby.
Yeah, there was some
You know.
stat about some players in that 26 that tournament, and then they played till late into June, and the number of days they played was just wild.
It was
the
like
number
a
of
10-month
games.
season.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, holy crap. So that was the difference. In 87, which is still probably the best hockey tournament of all time.
I would
Okay.
agree. And that was a 2 out of 3, right?
So-
that wasn't one game.
I heard this. I heard this morning. They were talking about it. You have 3 choices: 87, Gretzky to Lemieux, Sid's golden goal, a Ginla to Gretzky, or a Ginla to Sidney Crosby, or Marner to McDavid. Which of
Martin
those 3 do you
McDavid
pick?
doesn't even make number 3.
No.
First of all,
No.
number
But those
one,
are the 3. Those were the 3 choices.
number
they gave
1
him.
is Henderson.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, Brian. I'm just saying. This is
Yeah.
the 3 choices they gave.
Number 1's Henderson.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. Yeah, that's
Number 2 is 100% Lemieux.
Yeah, I said Gretzky Lemieux right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
That McDavid goal is. Yeah.
Crosby was
But did you
I know
see-
what you're
Yeah.
saying.
McDavid's goal, as good as it was and as much fun we had,
Yeah.
it still won the Flint Mega Bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
This is not a
Right.
thing. It was really cool. I love the hockey. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really.
Because if you
it's
see
not
them-
like it was a gold medal or a world championship. It was just they went up to the corner shop, made up a trophy, and said, "Here, go play for
corner
it." And the
shop.
players-
No
White
disrespect
Street.
in case they want to, be
Yeah, in
a
case you're
sponsor.
looking for sponsorship, I just pumped your tires to literally dozens of people.
Big shout out to our friends at the corner
Like
shop
if-
on the corner of White and Talbot Street.
Formerly at the corner of Huron and Johnson.
Paul Smith. There you
I
go.
don't know how Iggy to Crosby, 2010 in Vancouver.
At home, yeah.
That is so tough to
Yeah.
beat.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, 87
that
is
was a good
incredible.
goal.
And where do you
Because of
slot
who
in?
it was,
Yeah,
but-
where do you slot in 2002?
Oh God, I don't even
The
remember
Lemieux
that one.
goal, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Who scored the goal when he did the dummy? Was it a Gingla? You know the play I'm
I
talking
think
about?
so. When he let the puck go through his.
Yeah.
Oh, that was yeah.
Oh, that
it's
was
Lemieux.
In soccer, they
that was
called him-
Mario to sack it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He never
Yeah.
touched the
That was
puck.
2002.
That's
yeah,
right.
in Salt Lake.
He let it go through.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
Lemieux
think
let
it
it go
was
through.
I feel like it was Korea.
No, it was
No
Salt Lake.
Sakic.
Yeah.
Sakic scored the game winner. I'm gonna have to
Was
check
it
my
Korea?
facts.
Wasn't
Yeah,
that
we'll
one?
have to go and look at
I'm
that.
gonna have to stick with my
I think
guts here.
Lemieux
feel
let
And
it
it
go
was on
through.
Mike
I
Richter.
don't know. I will say this. I was really drunk at the time.
And with that being said,
Chester's
we'd like
not
to
at home to tell
reach
us.
out to our potential sponsors, the corner shop. Just so you know.
I was going to say Chester. We're usually at this time going, Chester, who was that?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, Chester's. That's
No,
what I said. If Chester's
Lemieux-
here, who's doing our fact
Lemieux,
checks?
Lemieux let that go through, and I'm
in soccer, they
confident.
call it-
It
Wasn't
might
it
have-
Larry Murphy?
It might have been. It might have
Coming
been
up on the-
Korea. You may be right.
I'm
I think it
sticking
might
with
be
Korea.
Korea.
I don't.
It was
know.
either Korea.
Paul Korea.
Was it
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. There
Oh
you
my
go.
goodness.
This is why.
Wow.
We
This is
stand
why you bring me
corrected,
in.
You
right?
weren't that
Well,
drunk.
You
That
and the
and that.
general. The general was our fact checker during our reveal show.
Yeah.
You're our full-time fact checker.
Paul Korea.
All right, so are we complacent with that? Do we?
I think we covered all that one. There's not much to talk
I
about
mean,
what
you
happened
could
in the
go on.
NHL last
No,
night.
that was
You
a-
could go on.
My
was-
God.
Yeah.
That was a
There's no
letdown.
need to. Don't look now, but the Washington Capitals
Oh.
are current President Trophy candidates.
The only team to not have any players in the tournament. They're
And Ovechkin's
Looking
going to break
good.
that record. I hate to say it after
25
last
goals in 41 games.
I think we
Three
should
more
start
last
counting
night.
all of Wayne's goals in the WHL, which brings him up to, I think, 1,012.
well, and they were going to add the ones when he was 10 years old, the 378 goals. So Ovi's got a long way to go.
So really understanding that the this tournament that we just saw, the Four Nations, was there was no like couth to it in reference to history making, whatever. Damn, it was fun to watch.
Oh,
Damn, it was fun to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
it was.
So great conversation, guys. We're gonna head into a break here. Let's see what we got. If I can do this, let's see. Joe's Diner, your number one choice for lunch, breakfast, dinner. Locations in St. Mary's and Stratford. The Myers family put on a great opportunity for you to come in and have your old favorites,
Right.
Liver and onions,
Number 4.
meatloaf, all of it.
Don't
Perth
forget
County
the meatloaf
breakfast.
on Friday, and of course,
That's right.
Mrs. Myers makes a drop-dead cheesecake. too.
Oh, it's
Try
I
it.
weep
Save room
as
for
I eat
cheesecake.
it. It's so good. It's so good. Well done. Well, I'm just trying to sell it. Let's see here. SBS Metals, your preferred custom fabrication, located in Stratford. Dennis and Kathy McCann do a great job there. They are ready for all your first choices they do, maintenance, metal work, all that great stuff. They invite you to come in and have a look at them. They also invite you to go into their Facebook and social media pages,
Yes.
where it's a representation of their work. And very, very generous of them to be on board with us this year. You want to try one?
Yeah, Brighter Vision Counseling and Psychology. Just give them a call. They are the people to go to if you're having troubles or you just need to talk to somebody. Call up Brighter Vision Counseling and Psychology. Kelly and Sherry do an amazing job, them and their staff.
Them and their team give you an opportunity to heal and grow.
Maybe Elias should go there,
Yeah.
figure his problems out.
Our good friends at Domino's Pizza, they've been on board with us this season, and they invite you to
So
take advantage
grateful.
of their promotional opportunities all through the week. Mondays and Wednesdays are 50% off pizza if you order online. So
Wow.
Patrick and his team do a great job.
It's Monday today, folks.
Alicia
Yeah.
too is a rock star. Shout out.
She's
She
to
fed
her.
us Saturday night.
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful people, and part of the community. All the check marks, the check boxes marked there with this company. So thank you so much, and I really apologize for dragging this on. I have no idea.
I think there's that Janet girl. I can't remember her name.
There is Janet Lange, broker with the Home and Company.
Just trying to get you in the house at the end of the show.
Appreciate that. Janet Lange, broker realty out of the Home and Company office here in Stratford, Ontario. 21 years of experience. She has coined the phrase, putting the real in real estate, and she would look forward to having any opportunity to have a consultation, a conversation with you about anything to do with your real estate needs, commercial, residential. Thank you, Janet, for being on board with us this year.
Bentley's Food, Wine, Beer, and Beds. Come to Bentley's. They have a ton of drafts on queue.
That's on the marquee, right?
Listen to you guys.
Yeah.
They just do a great job. There's no explanation necessary.
Like
or
they're probably
needed.
sick and tired of being right.
Well,
They've been in business for over 30 years, and great watering hole
Since
in
the
town.
Jester Arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, there
That's
are.
going back.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
great family.
Great
and
family. Breen Jr., the whole crew. So
I think that's got her.
I think
I'll say
that's
the
it.
Urban Barber, but yeah, if you want to show up, go ahead. If you don't
And
worry
of
about
course,
it.
the corner shop.
And the corner shop.
and our new one, the corner shop.
Potential target. So if anyway,
Okay, we're gonna take a break. This thing's gone downhill.
like I'm just
Twisted mule always gets my shit confused. What's a man have to prove? Do I have to walk the knife for you?
We're not muting.
Every mountain I've climbed, there's a valley low. For every highway I ride, there's a rocky road. She's got me beat, she's got me broken, right down to my soul. Drunk and young.
No, that's media source.
I did. Yeah, that was just another game where
Yeah.
the first period has been not good for about 3 or 4 weeks.
No, because then.
Yeah. First intermission, poke the bear. And when you poke the bear gets pretty grumpy.
All right, and we're back. That was an entertaining first half.
Lots to talk about.
Oh,
Plus,
yeah.
having last week off, everybody had some stuff to get off their
Right?
chest.
Yeah.
Heard a couple. And another thing.
And Razor's trying to talk with Chester, having our own conversation.
We were just talking about Bentleys.
It was-
Right?
It was right off the marquee, and that's what we.
Well, I was
thought
reading
you
it.
did
I was
good.
reading it off the sign.
I didn't even notice that. I was just saying it's right off the marquee out back, man.
Perfect.
All right. The GOJHL is coming down to the wire.
It's exciting.
Oh, the Warriors are on a heater.
Are they ever?
Yeah, good for them. They're
Is it 9 straight?
9 straight now. Hunter
And they
Nagy
can't-
got his
They
100.
can't get past Chatham because
Yeah.
Chatham's won. They got points in 9 of their last 10. Or
Yeah.
They got points in their last 10. 9-0-1 or something like that.
Yeah, Hunter Nagy got his 100th GOJHL point there in Kamoka. It was kind of funny because Caden Long scored a hat trick, his first hat trick ever, which
wow.
we thought was kind of weird for the
leading score
GOJHL.
for the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's back to a point of player.
It took him 5 or 6 games
To
but
settle in,
He's
yeah.
looking good now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that may go down as one of the real deadline moves in the league.
Where did
Yeah.
he come from?
St. Thomas. Him and Matthew Blake. We were talking. Actually, I was talking to somebody today. We were talking about the moves Stratford made, and Jonas Schmidt moves huge.
Oh.
The way he's been playing.
All world.
Started with Nagy. Started bringing when they brought Nagy back.
Yep.
I think that was a no-brainer.
Yeah,
though.
and then Jonas Schmidt coming back,
yeah.
and then adding Caden Long is a big thing because he
They
gives
have-
you.
They
He
have
gives you.
gone off
yeah.
ever since he
How
showed
was
up.
he
Two
doing
solid
in St.
ones.
Thomas?
He was
Do we know?
He was a
leading
point a
St.
game
Thomas.
guy.
He was
Was
point
he?
of, point
Yeah.
of, yeah, point a game. player.
I was looking at that yesterday on the drive home from the lake, and yeah, just kind of prepping for tonight. And I'm looking at this Long kid, and I'm going, "Wow." I hadn't really paid attention, to be honest, but yeah, good to see.
There's a
They pick
lot
up-
more to his game than the points. He's a
Yep.
good penalty killer.
Oh,
He's
great
a
penalty
200-foot
killer, yeah.
player. Yeah, I was impressed
And
with him.
he's
When you
not-
and I went to St. Thomas and called the
Yep.
game, he stood out that
Yep.
night for a very below average.
Yeah, and
St.
he's
Thomas
not going to
team.
back down from anybody. He's not afraid to get in there and
He's
push
not
and
the
shove.
biggest
And,
kid.
no,
he's
but
not small either.
no.
I mean,
He's
6 feet, 162.
he's
Yeah,
there.
so-
And, I got to say,
Thanks, Chess.
No problem. Bud.
Friday,
Thanks for the fact check.
I love it.
Friday-
Everybody's prepared.
yeah, Friday night, Aiden Wilson, game of the year for him. He was just solid all game. Nobody was pushing anybody around. He was on the ice and he just played well.
He will need all of that game Friday night.
He will. My gosh, we got the makeup game Wednesday night in London. That's a huge game. Friday night, Chatham's here. That's a massive game. And then Listowel back-to-back Monday, Friday, and finish the season off with Elmira. And that could be a first-round preview, depending on what Elmira decides to do. If they're going to play winners or they're going to get into this rut.
And that Listowel team that just got pumped by Chatham last night, 7-2.
Yeah.
And Chatham is a team to be concerned about.
So
Oh,
that goal,
yeah.
the goaltender, Hunter,
Oh, yeah.
the kid playing net for Chatham.
De Blasio?
No,
well, he's
No.
not the
No.
number one
No.
guy.
he's not the number one. It's
Really?
yeah, Hunter
Hunter Gannon or
Gannon.
I
Yes,
believe it is.
he's 20-5 on the year,
Wow.
and this kid is
Sounds like St. Mary's.
yeah, this kid is the real deal.
Because I saw the one game that De Blasi,
Yep.
he was the player of the game.
Yep.
And now I haven't followed
Gannon
them as
Hunter.
much.
Gannon Hunter.
It's not Hunter Gannon. It's Gannon
Gannon
Hunter.
Hunter.
There we
But
go.
like right now,
Never trust a man with 2 first names.
but you've got St. Mary's running away with it. You know,
They've clinched
got
it all.
They've
Yeah.
got 78 points. Then you've got Chatham and Stratford with 65 points, tied for second.
Chatham with a game in hand.
Yes. And then you've got Listowel and London tied
Listowell's
with
got
59
3 games
points.
in hand.
Like it is so.
The thing about it
so,
is, though,
tight.
and you guys, and sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I, with you guys understanding and knowing how much you know, you think, Stratford, okay, they want to finish second, third, then you are able to prolong seeing St. Mary's. Is there an easy first round?
No,
No.
not for any team.
No.
No,
Well,
I didn't think so.
Easy's a relative term, I think.
It all depends who finishes in that 8th spot. There's a certain team that might get that 8th spot, might give
There
St.
are
Mary's a
certain
little bit of
teams-
a run.
Yeah,
but
Waterloo gives them trouble. And keep in mind, Waterloo
because of the
gives
big
St.
ice.
Mary's trouble, but only in Waterloo.
Yes, because of
St.
the big-
Mary's
yeah.
pumped them twice at home.
Yeah.
But St. Mary's, make no mistake,
Yeah.
they did not play well yesterday.
No.
And there has been a growing trend with this team the last, I want to say 6 weeks, but Chess thinks maybe even longer
Christmas,
than that.
yeah.
Where the first period they just don't come out very strong, whether they're flat or whether
We
they're-
saw it against Stratford when,
Whether
when
they're
we were there,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
But when you poke the bear, the second period, I mean, Elmira found out the hard way. They came in a couple of Fridays ago and scored in the first period, and on the power play with that deadly power play that they have, went by the St. Mary's bench, gave it a little woo as they went by, and we're standing on the side going, dude, don't poke the bear. And it came
Right.
out, and one period later, it was 4-1 St. Mary's. They got about 21 shots. And so when they get going, it's pretty crazy. Now, the other thing that should be said about St. Mary's is that they were without 2/3 of their second
yeah,
line
absolutely.
all weekend.
Yesterday.
But
Morey suspended,
Yeah.
and Moore is. They're calling it precautionary, but he missed the whole weekend. So
Yeah.
that's the nice thing about having the whole league
Was that the new
sewn up.
pickup? More?
Yeah, Murray.
Maury.
Sorry, Maury. Yeah, Maury is
and
another one that was
Morey
a new
is
pickup.
suspended.
He was the one I was texting about.
Oh,
I did not
okay,
agree
okay.
with his suspension.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that.
Well,
No,
in this day and
no.
age,
You
he
got to
said-
watch what you say now.
Yeah,
Yes.
suffice to say, folks, he said something that isn't allowed to be said
No.
Yeah,
these
it's a
days.
joke.
And
That's ridiculous.
I'll only say this about that, and I agree with you to a point. Boston Bork of Waterloo put a London kid in the hospital and got 4 games. He called a guy a bad name and got 5 games. So
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
Well,
it's
I'm having
it's
difficulty
comical.
with the numbers.
Yeah,
but
Friday night, Quinn Kiffer serves a 1-game suspension on the softest 5-minute cross-checking major I've ever seen in my life.
It's now famous how soft that cross check was.
Yeah, it's so soft. I felt
soft
bad
was
for him.
it?
Yeah, I felt bad for the guy.
Well,
But he
it
was- He was great. He said the league saw it differently, so here I am. I'll take the rest and get ready for Wednesday night.
Yeah,
So,
there you go, right? So guys are kind of banged up at this time of year, so that's the nice thing. St. Mary's is kind of in cruise control. The only thing I'm concerned about with St. Mary's is that are you able to flick that switch? Now, we just watched the same
Right,
thing in
right.
the Ontario Super Hockey League where Evanston was home and cooled, 17 games into a 24-game schedule. The games meant nothing. They were getting beat. They lost 3 or 4 in a row. Then they came out in the playoffs and outscored their opponent 16-3.
Yeah.
So
They're back.
They're fine.
Yeah.
like the 2 points didn't mean anything to St. Mary's yesterday,
no.
but they meant a hell of a lot to Waterloo.
absolutely. The thing I like about St. Mary's schedule, whether they blow a game here down the stretch, it's not a big deal. But they get London twice and they got Chatham before we hit the playoffs. If that won't wake them up, nothing will.
But you
Yes.
guys beat
Yeah.
London twice. That's
Oh,
fine
yeah.
with me.
But it's just the atmosphere of those
Yeah.
games.
No,
though.
but you're going to get it for those
Yep.
games.
Yep.
You're going to
And London's going to be full gear.
100%.
And London's going to be trying to get our guys to do some stupid stuff like they always do.
Like they always do.
And it's bad timing to play them right before the
But the
playoffs.
Chatham game is really
Gotta play
one
discipline.
that's going to grab you.
Well, and
attention.
your coach that Razor and I just love in St. Mary's, he's going to have them prepped. You're going to get people egging you on. You're going to get players doing this, doing that. Don't worry about it. That will be the message.
And
I'm
Waterloo
sure.
plays the same style too. So Waterloo loves to get under team skin. If you look at the most penalty minutes in the league, they're right up there
They're
with
top
London.
5,
Yeah. And that's the way they did it yesterday too. Like every whistle.
I'm excited
every
for your
whistle.
Lincolns, boys.
Oh, it
I'm
should be
excited
good.
for your Lincolns.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be good.
The longer we don't see Chatham, the better. And other than that,
Yeah, but you know what though, guys? And I'm not saying that you're gonna, it's just in the playoffs. You got to be ready regardless, and I think that was the benefit of the division change and all that. And listen, if you're gonna play Waterloo, I'm sure it's gonna be a shorter series. I'm not saying
Absolutely,
any
yeah.
game in particular, but
I will.
tune up, tune in. It's
I have to say, though, I am going to say this now. Flying under the radar are the Stratford Warriors,
Absolutely. Yep.
who are now suddenly, I think, 7 or 8 goals back in the
Yes.
against department
Yep.
of the St. Mary's
I looked at
Lincolns.
that.
yeah.
They just don't get scored on.
Seven.
Yeah, Carter
7.
McDougall wasn't busy Friday night, but he makes
But
those saves
they
when he has
are-
to make those saves.
That's huge.
And they are so hard to get a second scoring chance
Yep.
on. The rebound control by
And block
McDougall-
shots are
probably
just-
the best thing about McDougall is his ability to not give up rebounds. I think Furlong is great. Now, I think his numbers are inflated because I did a bit of a deep dive on his stats.
he's
He
played
does not
some.
have a win against a top 5 team in either conference.
Okay.
So as good as he's been, and I really love the kid,
Yep.
and he showed us he showed us right away in air when McDougall got pulled, and he just showed up for the team, brought him in cold, and he played really, really well, and he has played fantastic. So it's going to be McDougall.
It's all
in the
reps,
net.
though. It's
It's
all
going to be
reps.
McDougall in the net, but I think you feel confident and comfortable if McDougall
'Cause-
doesn't do the job, but watch out for Stratford.
Well, the thing I like is Stratford going in with 2 confident goalies, because we saw what happened last year to Stratford when we lost the number 1 in the championship series.
Right.
But
That hurts you. McDougall came in and stood on his head
Yeah.
for, faced 108 or whatever it was, how many shots he faced against Listowel. But, coming in cold, he hadn't played much, 1 or 2 games maybe in the playoffs at all, right?
Like Listowel was just like St. Mary's is so well-rounded. 20-year-olds, good goaltending.
This is the 3rd year. In fairness, only 5 20-year-olds for St. Mary's, but this is the 3rd year in a row we're seeing a team like
Dominating,
this. Like Leamington 2
Right.
years ago,
Yep.
Listowel last year, St. Mary's this year. Is it ever fun to watch? I believe that the GO's level of talent and quality of hockey play has risen sharply over the last 5 years.
Holly,
Yeah.
I just want to ask one question. So you're saying watch out for the Warriors. I mean, they're in second, third. I mean, that's a competitive team. Are you saying with the fact of like rookies, or when you say that, they're not 4th or 5th or 6th, like they're second and tied for
But they
second in the
were,
league.
and this is what I'm saying is that I feel like, obviously St. Mary's went on the 18-game heater,
Right.
but I think the second best team since Christmas has been Stratford.
Okay. And
Even
just
better than
clarifying,
Chatham.
if anything, for listeners.
And
like
so,
just
like I
trying
said,
to-
I mean, I know they're tied for second place. They might finish 3rd or what have you, but they are a team that is already playing playoff hockey.
Yeah.
Whether St. Mary's has got another. There's a lot of guys on St. Mary's that went through the run last year, and Chatham has not gone deep. Ayr went 2 rounds, for all the teams, and Stratford really doesn't have a whole lot of guys left. I mean, you have to help me out. Who's back from last year that went on that run? That it's got to be 6 guys
2
or
years
less
ago?
on the team.
Yeah, there's Cole.
Nagy.
Nagy.
This is exactly my point.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the team like you
Well,
do.
Nag-
and you're hard pressed to come
Yeah,
up with the
but
names
Nagy,
of guys who played.
Kipfer was
100%.
there.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
Slattery played some games.
Point taken.
McDougall
No,
was
and,
there,
and just asking Holly. I'm
gives them
I'm
no,
not
and I understand what
challenging
you're
you,
saying.
right?
McDougall gives them a level of calm and confidence that you really want out of your goaltender. Like St. Mary's obviously is going to be extremely difficult to beat. So is Chatham,
Yeah.
but there's just something about this Stratford team. They are if I'll use an NFL term, they're a bend but don't break defense. They'll give up a lot of possession around the outside. It's hard to get into the middle. It's hard to get a second scoring chance. That's the type of hockey that wins in the playoffs, and that's why Stratford is really catching my eye.
I'm not saying Stratford's the only example because I don't know, but I do know when we did our top 50 episode up in the director's lounge, the Warriors practiced, and I said to Razor, I said to Reuter, I said to a few other people, I said to the general, I go, the pace of this practice is insane.
Yeah.
Like it was so fast, and I'm sure that maybe be the tempo like throughout the league. I mean, you kind of have to be but man, it's been forever since I've seen a junior B practice. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and,
It was
that's
unbelievable.
That's kudos to Willie
Yeah.
and his coaching
Yeah.
staff for having him practice and get prepared, for the playoffs and game situations.
Yeah, and you're at that time of year now where you're not going to get that regular practice.
Yeah.
So we lose a Wednesday night practice because you have a game. You lose a Monday night practice next week because you have a game.
And I say that with all
Right?
due respect to the teams in the league, but I was blown away. I'm like, I'll be right with you. I want to see this, and it was
Right.
just know.
Brian and I talk a lot about the standings and that, but Chester, you'll agree with this. Brian and I are both in agreement. Listowel and London, they can play each other in the first
I think
round and
that's
just
a fantastic
beat the heck out of
matchup.
each other.
I think
We're
it's a
going
great
around
matchup.
the league is put them
Right.
in the first round together and put all your rotten eggs in one basket.
If Wiley Burkett comes out of that series unsuspended or uninjured, I will be shocked.
What I think
If
is
London
great,
comes out with enough players,
Yeah.
like is now that they've merged the 3 leagues together, now you've got like Stratford's always been a good crowd.
Yep.
St. Mary's has always been a good crowd, but you've got the Chathams.
Chatham
and
will
the-
have good crowds.
right?
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
got
for
the
sure.
Crazy
Listawan.
crowds.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's going to be really intense hockey. Like,
London
I
will
can't
have a
wait
good
for
crowd if St. Mary's is playing.
Right. Yeah.
They'll draw good there.
London doesn't draw real well, and that's that is part and parcel of
And
the
that
big
hurts.
city. The big cities don't generally draw for
How
anybody
about
other
how
than
about
the top
KW
team.
in the playoffs?
Well, it's tough to
last?
tell how many people are there because
Yeah.
the place holds 5,000 or so.
It's such a
Oh,
big,
okay.
big, vast
and
arena. Right?
apparently they fill the joint. The Laurier, I was told
The Laurier Warriors
women-
game. Yep.
Oh,
The
wow.
Laurier women fill the joint just about every
Yep.
home game.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wow.
So they
yeah.
do the purple and black game there too. The men and the women
But
play
it
after
holds,
each other.
I think. Am I wrong there? I
It's
think it holds
5,000.
5,000.
Yep.
And so when there was probably
Even if
I don't
there's
know, I didn't see the
2,000 there.
number.
They had 354
350
yesterday.
like 350,
And
and
it
I'm
looked
telling
empty.
you, the place looked.
Yeah.
But-
it looked like a.
The thing with KW is that ice is so massive, just
So-
so massive.
That's the Olympic ice.
It's
And
the
right?
sorry
Olympic
to
size
keep
ice.
quizzing you guys.
Yeah.
So like Listowel on their home night may it be Friday night?
It
Yeah.
is.
Are they getting
No.
800 people there
They don't
They
until the
didn't
playoffs.
sell out.
until the playoffs?
Yeah.
Do you
Unless
remember
Stratford's
they didn't
there.
sell out the
That's
Sutherland
right.
Cup?
They
Yeah.
didn't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Game
It's a
one,
funny. It's
we
funny
went
up
up there for
yeah.
game
Said that,
one for
yeah.
the Sutherland Cup final, and the place was a
Yeah.
third at least
Yeah.
empty. I
And
was
they were selling.
blown away.
They were selling out the finals though with
And
Stratford up
What
there.
about Elmira?
They'll sell it.
They'll sell it.
Elmira.
A couple years ago,
It's
they
also
were in
it's
the
all.
cup.
Elmira's. I love Elmira. I
They
love
love
I
Elmira.
love that arena.
and that might
Fantastic.
be my favorite rink in the whole league.
I don't
to be
like
honest with
broadcasting them from there because, you got to lay across the desk to see the other end of the ice because of the girders. But
I love
it's
that
a great
rink.
arena.
Yeah, but have you given any feedback for you leaning out the press box at the Almond?
Yeah, I see. I hear
Give
that
some
every now and
feedback?
then. Yeah. Somebody
I
said
said
you're gonna
to
fall
Chess-
one of these
I
times.
said
There's
he's
a-
gonna
there's-
fall out, Chess.
Yeah.
There's a tether rope
Yep.
in the press box now.
So he's got a hold of me.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Josh Adams.
Oh yeah.
He
yeah.
said he'll be listening tonight. He got the call up to the Niagara Ice Dogs.
That's awesome.
Head equipment manager now
Manager.
with the
Huge
Ice Dogs.
Congratulations to
Congratulations.
Josh.
So he
Yeah.
sent me a picture this morning. He says Monday 9 a.m. and he's sitting in front of the skate sharpening machine. It's like to the nines. I said, well, that's a nice machine. He says, oh boy. He says
To tell
he'll be
him
listening.
If he ever
so-
comes
So-
back to bring the skate sharpening,
he
machine
might come
back,
down
he'll-
Friday night. He said to watch. They don't
So
have a
how
game,
did they
so.
find him? Like he does a great job
Well,
with Stratford. How did Niagara?
He
get a
does.
hold of him?
So anytime there's been like the McPherson tournament or they played that one college team this
Oh,
year.
yeah,
They
yeah.
kept playing
St.
them.
Andrews.
St. Andrews or another team. He was always the trainer there.
Okay.
So he's well respected around the league. And they might have just asked, and somebody probably gave him their name from maybe the league or they heard through the grapevine here and
Yeah.
there. Because we drove down to Kamoka together because it was kind of snowing that night, and he was going to drive down, so he didn't have to come back. And I said, well, I'll go down with you so you don't have to drive by yourself. And we were talking down the way, and Niagara didn't come up at all in the conversation. And he talked to me Tuesday or
They
Wednesday.
probably
We
had a
talked,
muzzle on
and
or
it was
something.
Tuesday morning. He got the call Tuesday morning, and
Wow.
the things just started rolling
So
from there.
good.
So,
Well, and he's the second one because
Yep.
look at Campbell.
yep, he's with
That,
the Ontario Reign,
Well, yeah, like
Los Angeles Kings
Yeah.
AHL team.
unbelievable.
Yeah, but it started off him going to
North Bay.
North Bay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And worked his way up. Like
Josh, big congrats,
Yep.
man. We're sending you so much love and such a great accomplishment, and keep it growing, kid.
Yeah, it's just one of those guys. I get to the arena early, and we talk every night at the arena.
Yeah.
Herms is in charge now, and he did a good job Friday night
That a
keeping
boy,
his calm.
Herm.
You never know when the little ball of hate gets all excited.
Talking about Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Herm was one of our
Love
students
Cody.
moving the nets for many years, so he's a rink rat through and through.
Oh, he loves
He
it.
gets Bo and Quinter helping him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bo Anderson, the son of Eric Anderson. He's just
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Bo got his haircut because we're going to London Wednesday night. So
There you go.
yeah, something about the Rogers
What's
girl.
the significance there?
Yeah.
The Rogers girl.
Yeah.
You've never been to a London game.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know what you mean now.
All the players want the interview with the Rogers girl. So
Okay, fair enough.
Any further on the OJ?
Or the go?
The
Or the
GOJHL.
go.
Yeah, we don't cover the OJ. It's
we don't cover the OJ, but there is one game I want to talk about in the PJHL.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
OJ? No, it's called the go.
it's go
The
the
go.
go the
Great
GOJHL.
Sorry
Ontario
about that.
Junior Hockey
Yeah.
League. The OJ is the alleged Junior
yeah.
A
Ontario
because they got more
Junior.
imports than Junior B. It used to be the old
Gotcha.
Metro League, right?
Right.
Remember?
Yep.
Back when the derbies were a thing.
The
and
Derbies
Seneca Nats.
and,
And,
yeah,
Henry
they-
Carr was another one. Who else? There was
Yeah.
a few teams, and that's back when this was. It, I think it was still the Sutherland.
Yes.
Yeah, the Metro-
Yep.
the-
Yep.
the
And
Metro.
there were 4 leagues,
Yeah,
and they
there
would 2 semifinals,
Yep.
which is why we had a 7-game series against Chatham.
Yep.
Which a goal that I heard was pretty popular was scored in that series.
Right. Actually, Streetsville was in the Central with us when I was in
I thought it was
Barrie.
called the Metro.
Well, there
It was the Metro, and then it
League.
turned into the Central,
Okay, fair
and
enough, yeah.
there
Is
was
that how it
or it was the Central, and then went to the Metro. One
I
of
thi-
those ways, but
Yeah, I forget. We're going back
Yeah.
to '88. but-
P-Dub.
70s
What do you say?
the the
Oh, yeah.
PGHL last night there was a game in Mount. Was it Mount
in
Forest or
Mount
Walker?
Forest.
In Mount Forest, and they started at 7:15, and the game ended at 1:15.
In the 5th
Overtime period. So the goalie for Mount Forest faced 127 shots and made 123 saves.
Fun fact: they played again the next day.
Yeah.
And it went to overtime again.
Oh, geez.
So
So
these guys
Saturday, yeah.
played almost 12 periods of hockey in 20 hours.
So the thing about it is that I say about 125 shots is where's the D?
Yeah.
Like honestly,
Yeah.
That's the peak.
It's only one shot a minute.
Ridiculous.
At
Well,
that
it's,
point,
it's
only one
almost
shot
2
a
full
minute.
games.
It's more.
Right?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
it's-
but
it's
two
almost-
full
well,
it
games.
was two,
It's
two and a half.
That's
Yeah, it's
60
almost 3
shots
full
a
games.
game.
Yeah.
But-
So they averaged
periods.
24
What'd you say?
shots a period.
Well, would you? No, yeah,
Eight periods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost 3 full games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it's wild. Like the PGHL is just way too big to keep track of because there's 64 teams. There's Alliston. They went 40-0.
Hanover
1,000.
went, Hanover
How many
went
goals was-
38-3.
Hanover Barons.
Yeah.
And Alliston scored. It was
I
a
don't
huge
know.
number of goals.
It's a
It was
weird
way up
league
there.
because they
Yeah.
took the D and the C and they put it together. So Tavistock, although I will
Tavistock's
say this,
1-1.
A cool thing is like you get matchups like Tavistock and New Hamburger
Yep.
in our playoff series. Right
That
now.
would be
How
cool.
cool is that when
That
you're
would be
12
awesome.
minutes from the other guy's rank?
Right.
You know.
Very
Having
strong-
Stratford's
strong
got a
foreign.
close eye on that series because
And a couple of years ago, when there was the mass exodus from
Yep.
Stratford, McLeod and
went to Mitchell. Yep.
Yep, they all went to Mitchell, and Mitchell went to round 5.
It's
There's
so
6
weird.
rounds of playoffs.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So we
That's
did some quick
crazy.
math. It's a 42-game regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, if you win the championship and all of your series are 7 games, you played a 42-game regular season and a 42-game playoff.
That's crazy.
42 playoff games possible.
And their borders are just so weird because Exeter plays in a different division from Mitchell.
Right. Well, you got to put borders somewhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's teams there that are always awesome, like Hanover. Glanbrook is another one.
Yeah.
The one down Amherstburg is usually good. There's one down that way too.
The
I
Grims,
forget-
Grimsby Peach
Probably
Kings.
Harrison or something.
So
Wow.
That's where the Streetsville Derby are in the Junior C right now too, as well. And there's some original teams that are still playing C
there's some
hockey.
teams that have
and-
been around for a long,
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
time. And
but it's just
Why,
way too many teams.
hopefully some of them, because there's room in the go for a couple more teams. And we would like to
Woodstock.
see those
That would be
divisions
good.
even up.
Makes no sense to me.
You just said it's
Right.
not. Oh, I said to go. What did I say?
Woodstock.
Yo.
40,000
Thank you.
people.
Sorry.
They got more people than Stratford. Why
this,
do they
sorry?
not have Woodstock needs to have a junior B hockey team?
100%.
They have the
Never
arena.
have.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
but they have the arena for it.
Yeah.
There's another arena where the ice is way too big.
That's another one
But
besides
they
rank,
and they
yeah.
support the hell of that junior. Like that place gets great
Navy
crowds.
vets,
Yeah,
yeah.
Navy vets. They're right on the 403,
Yeah.
401. Like they would be great in that other division.
The senior team, not so much.
No.
No.
But you can't have everything, right?
But
Oh man.
no, I agree with you. I didn't realize, but it makes sense with the Cambridge Toyota plant nearby.
Yeah.
That Woodstock's population
Oh,
would
it's
because
huge.
when we
Well, the
played-
Woodstock has a Toyota plant.
well, does Woodstock?
Yeah, Woodstock does.
Well, Cambridge
Right where the
has
mall
one
used to
too.
be.
Cambridge has one
one,
too.
yeah.
But I remember when Halser and I played minor hockey.
We played 'em every
and,
year.
And
Oh,
Woodstock, it
absolutely.
was
yeah.
always
We did
Stratford
too.
Woodstock.
Yeah,
Because
it's a
we
big
were-
rivalry.
What were we, single A, double, whatever the terminology,
Yeah,
B,
double
maybe.
A. We were double A.
Whatever it was, we
Yeah.
always had to play Woodstock.
Brownie
in the first
F.
round of OMHS.
But they had a smaller population than Stratford
yeah.
because
Back
if you
then,
look
yeah.
if you look at Stratford's population on the sign coming in, they've been 32,000 for 40 years now, right? Like it's I don't know
With 17,
new
suburbs.
subdivisions.
Yeah, amazing.
We are. Hey, it took 20 years just to get a Walmart, man.
Yeah,
Things-
yeah, and
what-
fighting them.
in
Yeah,
Strat-
that
as
just
my
makes
old pappy
sense.
would say, in Stratford, we make haste slowly.
Oh man. I don't
gonna
know.
talk about
I,
the Irish,
I don't know
or-
if you really want to talk about because I got nothing. I have nothing.
Well,
Let's just
I
say
went
I was quite excited at the referees because I don't get to do it in junior B, and these guys were horrible.
Saturday night, I went to an Ontario Super Hockey League game, and a senior hockey game broke out. Yes. It was silly.
Why anybody would want to
I
fight
have
Kelvin
been-
Thompson is beyond me.
Do you know what? He won that fight.
I know, but
That
why
was-
would
and do you
anybody
know
want
who
to
that
fight
is?
him?
That's Brandon Kudo,
I
who was
know.
their second leading scorer.
Yeah.
And he definitely won that fight. But
Kelvin
I mean,
Thompson was the guy you didn't want to fight when he played in Stratford.
Holy mackerel, he's a bad man, I tell you. But I tell you what, there was, and I'm trying to do the math, something like 54 minutes
Yeah.
in penalties in the second period by Stratford.
And the referees lost control.
Yeah, they were the big reason.
In fairness,
that
the
it was a
Irish lost
gong
control
show.
long before
Yes.
the referees did. And it was two teams where the game mattered to one team, but it didn't matter to the other team. I have been this team's most vocal supporter over the last 4 years. I have been there every game, every step of the way. Saturday night was a bloody embarrassment. It was just all the people that showed up there, I felt like you should give them their money back. My buddy Trey Hamilton, who is one of the best play-by-play guys I know of that isn't doing it for a living, comes up from Tillsonburg. There's about 12 minutes left in the game, and he got a look on, like, he come over to talk to me. He's got a look on his face like curdled milk. And he's like, what the hell did I drive here for to watch this?
It was horrible.
And I am just utterly disappointed. Like, the game didn't mean a lot. It was, I was talking about the Mega Bowl before. It was a fourth place game. Either they finished third or fourth.
Right.
They win their third, they lose their fourth. Clearly, it didn't matter to them because right after that, Warren Gorman clocked that guy right in front of us behind the net. And then all hell broke loose. There were 3 misconducts. There's an abuse of official misconduct thrown out there. And then the third
Tilsonburg
period,
wouldn't come back on the ice because they were
Til-
afraid to come out of the tunnel because
there was a fan yelling at him from behind the bench, and they refused to come out until the fan was kicked out.
and they got security there. Well,
Oh, good. Yeah.
But wasn't it like by ending up in fourth? Now, if Stratford wins their first round, now you've got a head-on match with Elphinston.
Well,
No, you might
that's
not.
The thing is that in the other series, which is Elora versus Strathroy,
Strathroy.
right.
which is a delicious series when you know the league
Right.
because both those teams receive monster-sized donations.
Right.
Delhi sent their 3 best players to Elora for a third-line center, I suppose.
Right.
And Tilsonburg sent their best player to Strathroy because apparently they didn't like him
The
anymore.
captain.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Wasn't he the captain?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No, Delhi sent their captain. So the
Gotcha.
top 3 players from Delhi go to Elora. They're loaded up. 2 good players, including Tilsonburg's best players, go over to Strathroy, and they're loaded up. And they draw each other in the first round of the playoffs, and that's what we call karma.
Right.
So at the end of the day, Strathroy won game 1, 3-2. They almost gave it away. They were up 3-1 and gave up a goal with about 4 or 5 minutes left, and then Robbie Shrimp took a penalty with 2:20 left in the game. So they had to kill a penalty.
Have
off
you
at the
seen
end.
any of his games? Does he look good out there?
Not particularly. He had
Yeah.
one good game in Tilsonburg.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's looked very not.
Ordinary.
average.
Ordinary.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who looks. If there's a guy you want to, is Brandon Buck. That's the guy you want to see. He played 7 games in the regular season, scored 14 goals.
Wow.
And he's got probably as good a shot at least as Feezy.
Really?
Oh man, can this guy shoot the puck? He's unbelievable.
All right.
So
Good to know.
Strathroy won that game. They've got the next 2 at home. They play Wednesday night in Strathroy and Friday night in Strathroy. And if Strathroy holds court, they're up 3-0 on second.
I
place
would
in Laura.
almost. I'm just throwing it out there. If anyone wants to go and because I would love nothing better than to see Elora get kicked out. And
I
had-
made no secret about how I feel about it.
right. And so I just happened to have coffee with our good friend Pi the other day.
Yep.
And he called it. He said, Razor, mark my words. And he said, and it's not, I got an axe to grind. He called it. He said, Strathroy is one of the quietest, most deceiving teams. They could knock off Elora first round. He goes, I'm calling an upset.
Well, and reason number 1 for that is Evan DeBrouwer, who is far and away the best goaltender in that league. And to be the best
Right.
goalie in that league is a
Strathroy,
statement.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did I
he,
say?
he,
Strathroy,
he
sorry.
came in here and stood on his head one night.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Stratford went to Strathroy.
Yeah.
November, 75 shots on net. They lost 5-4 in overtime.
It's crazy. And I love their jerseys. Like they got
And
the
they got the old
coolest
school
jerseys.
Flyer jerseys.
Yeah.
Piping, Orange Crush.
Right?
Love
Yep,
them.
with a great big jet on.
Great
on it.
logo.
Fantastic.
One of the best
Fantastic.
jerseys you'll ever see.
Well, it is. It just is. It's
So then
fantastic.
so Stratford's playing Petrolia then?
Yes,
First
Stratford's got
round.
the Petrolia, the old school. Like this is like throwback to the '70s with Kenny Hyde in net.
How many leagues start the playoffs before the regular season's over?
Not too many.
Only no.
I'm just asking.
Jeez, talk about throwing me a pizza.
yeah. Whoa,
I just thought
whoa.
I'd ask.
That's a
Les,
thing.
you knew exactly what you were
Oh,
doing when you asked that.
Look at you, just
I asked Saturday night, and I figured, I'm going to ask again
you might
because
have got a different answer Saturday night.
I've just never seen
I'll be honest
playoffs
with you,
start.
I didn't see the third period. I was talking to Razor because I had as much interest in the third period as the Irish did that night. So.
It was unfortunate. Like the game was barely a minute old, and they were down 2-0.
And that's the weird thing. The
it's-
weird takeaway from that game is that Capriotti is a fantastic goalie. I've seen him steal games for the Irish,
Yep.
but he literally couldn't catch the puck.
Yeah.
Like soft dump ins. Remember early in the
Yep.
third, he almost scored on himself.
Yeah.
The puck was shot down the length of the ice, happened to hit the net. He's trying to play it. It's between his feet, and he almost kicked it in his own net.
Yeah.
Like just turning around, trying to find.
Like, and
the
you're
puck.
right. Like you made a great comment there Saturday night. You said he's a good goalie who's having an off night. Like
just
in
Oh, that was an off night.
right,
Right.
yeah. Like and it's tough, right? You're down 2-0, like a minute 5 into the game. Like it was
Two
tough.
shots.
2-0. I looked at Brian. I said, "Boy, it's going to be an early night, I think."
Yeah, and I just remember by the end of the second period, after all that crap that went down, I'm going, Jesus, this is the first time in history where I've said to myself, I'd rather be watching the Leafs. Which means I was in
That's
quite a
pretty
state
bad.
of mind.
Yeah, that's pretty bad,
Yeah,
yeah.
no
Yeah,
doubt.
I
So
I got
I
nothing more.
assume the playoffs start Friday night in Petrolia
Okay.
and back Saturday night for the regular home game. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say we will see a different hockey team
Absolutely.
Saturday night for the playoffs because, at the end of the day, the fun fact, though, if Strathroy upsets Elora, most likely Stratford and Tillsonburg are going to play in the playoffs next
Can you guys like bring in the
Chester's-
conversation here?
I'm just,
I'm just trying to
I'm like, what?
We
This
did
is
that
the
with
thing?
Razor.
Yeah.
This is the thing. They're actually starting the playoffs before the regular
Yes.
season. Come
playoff
on.
series started before Stratford was even done the regular season.
Well, I don't know. It's hardly even worth talking about anymore, but I mean, the game got snowed out last Saturday,
Oh, okay.
and they simply fought over. First of all, Stratford offered up a tie. Like, if you give them a tie, Tillsonburg finishes fourth, still gets home ice first round. But
That's
nope,
fair.
they had to play the game, and then they come back with, we've got ice at our place in Tillsonburg on Wednesday, so you come and play us in our barn. And of course, Marco's going, you're an idiot, because why would I give up my home gate?
right.
Exactly.
Why would I give up my
Right.
home gate and pay all my guys to go down there and play a game so that you can get the gate?
Right.
So basically, it was
I can't believe
it was two bald guys fighting over a comb. That's what it was.
Line of the night.
Stupid, just stupid. So anyway, they played it. Meanwhile, by the time their game was done,
WOSHL.
wow. That's too bad.
Alvinston was up 2-0. Petrolia's rented ice for Friday night. That I assume they had a nice practice.
Right.
Anyway, so that's life in the Ontario Super Hockey League, where sometimes that league is just its own worst enemy.
Yeah.
The frustrating
That's all
part
you
is
have to
it
say,
is the
you know.
best hockey around.
Yeah,
If you can just forget about all the league crap and just when two teams show
Let
up
them
and decide
play.
to
The
play,
product.
the product. That game we saw, whatever it was 3 weeks ago, the Stratford-Alvinston game, even though Fiji wasn't there, that was,
It was great.
such good hockey.
McEwen.
Oh, I mean, McEwen was there. and
Magwood.
Fulcher was there. And
We will never censor you on this show, Brian.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that.
Well, it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
And so like not only do we appreciate your comments, but Halser, like they're bang on, like they're such true statements, and they've got such a great talented league. And I don't know the guys, you know better
They're
than
blowing
I do.
it.
They
They're
really
blowing
are.
It. They're blowing it.
They're-
And that's what's happening.
I've never followed a league in any sport that was more frustrating than this one because the quality of the hockey is so good when you just start playing hockey.
Butcher.
And
everything.
you know what? I'm just gonna go out on a limb and
You were
say
saying They're blowing it.
They're blowing it, and it all seemed to start going that direction
We know
in
when.
November,
Absolutely.
right?
The heart and soul. The heart
100.
and soul of the league.
100.
I don't even want to go there, but
Yes.
we all know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
It seems like a rudderless ship now.
And well, I don't want to get into it because
Hey, we're into it now. Because you add to the
he
fact,
just.
I'll even take it next level for you, Razor.
I said it.
Here we go. Here we go.
Orangeville, who is easily the second and might be the first best team in this league,
Leading the other division.
that is miles ahead of the other division, did the league a favor and moved over to the Central Division to play with all these teams because they are the most easterly of all the Western teams.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it is decided that this championship, the reason for bringing the Central Division in was to have the crossover championship series. And even though I'm an Irish fan, I'm also a realist. And I thought, how cool would Orangeville against Alvinston be for 6 or 7 games when you've got...
That would be
I
amazing.
think there are 4 or 5 guys that played in the AHL. Just unbelievable
Right.
talent on both sides. They will fill both barns
Yep.
to the absolute rafters. And then all of a sudden, the Central Division voted out the championship series with 3 weeks left in the regular season. And Orangeville said, wait a minute, and move us back over to the West.
I didn't know you could change the
Realistic-
Constitution 3 weeks left in the
realistically-
season.
Do you know what though, Holly? I'll say this: for as ridiculous as that information is that we've just heard, that was the decisions made, and that is the reason for the frustration.
That is the source of it, in fact. And so Orangeville says, well, move us back to the West then, so we can play in the playoffs, because we are absolutely going to, we're going to beat them.
Sure.
I almost did it again. They're going to win. They're going to, well, put it this way. The last time they played a game with Ernest was there was this big to-do in Shelburne. It was really cool. They had a specialty game in Shelburne, and it was Orangeville against Richmond Hill. And Orangeville showed up with their number 1 squad and eked out an 11-0 victory against the team
In
that
overtime.
is against the team that is probably the second best team in that division. So they're going to play 8 playoff games. They're going to play 4 at home. They're going to put all of their fans to sleep
Right.
by pounding the salt out of every other team they play. And now they got nowhere to go. So Orangeville said,
Bye-bye.
see ya, we're done. We're not playing. If you don't put us in the West, we quit.
Right.
And they did. So now the bottom 4 teams are going to play in the Central. They're going to play a best of 3 in the first round and a best of 5 in the second round. They're going to be done in 3 weeks. And what was the point of bringing them in if they were going to do this?
Right.
Right? So now the West is just the West.
MICKEYLUSE.
So, like I said, it is so frustrating to have a league of players this talented
Right.
that is just seemingly just shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly.
When they
Yeah.
play
Ad
hockey, it's a
infinitum.
great
Oh
game
my
when they
God,
play
it's
hockey.
Such good hockey.
But watching that game Saturday night brought me back to the old Stratford Indians.
Well, like I said, I went to a Super Hockey League game and a senior game broke out.
Yeah.
And senior hockey is not a
No.
I'm not a big fan of the fights. I never have been. And I certainly don't go to a hockey game so I can see
I don't
a
need to
half-dozen
see that.
fights.
If I want to watch all of that. Now, Canada, US, that was a different vibe.
But
But
it
to
didn't-
see that Saturday night at the Almond, like it was ridiculous. Like we were all ready to leave.
Yeah.
Because there was no reason to it. It was just after the whistle, face washes. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Kelvin
you know.
Thompson's down in front of us, gets punched in the face 3 times, and gets 2 minutes for roughing and 10 minute misconduct.
Yeah.
Come on.
Were you almost kicked out? I heard you were a little aggressive. with
No,
your
I
refs.
wasn't almost. He looked at me once.
You're half. He did. You chirped him and he looked up and gave you the stink eye. But
I just pointed to Cheryl.
Now, I've never been to a GOJHL game. Shame on me. Who referees this stuff? Are they the same guys at Junior B, or are this a totally different?
No.
definitely.
no.
In
So
fact,
where are these guys
I
from?
prefer senior refs to junior refs because
Okay.
junior refs
Oh well, they're
quite
don't
often
even start with
have
that,
an agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, they're looking to get further ahead.
Exactly.
So
Right.
they call it by the letter of the law, and they call it however the supervisor wants them to call it.
Don't say a
Senior
certain
refs,
words.
Senior refs are 40, 50-year-old fat guys who just get,
okay.
I assume, get about $120 a game, and just
It's good
But
paying.
some of them do.
Easy. Jim Bradley's in there. He's early 40s.
yeah.
Some
No,
of them.
but
It's only
he's
Did I say
40
something wrong?
No,
They're
no,
40,
he's-
50-year-old fat guys.
Well, Jim's not fat.
Jim's
No.
like ripped.
Jim's in good shape.
Yeah, he's in really good
I'm
shape.
generalizing.
some of
It's
them.
always dangerous to
Some of them
generalize.
do junior B.
Do they?
Chad Petrie's done a few.
Oh,
The guy last Saturday
That'd be
night was a big
entertaining.
40,
Fair
50-year-old
enough.
fat guy.
Was it?
It was like
I almost
Bill
just dropped it.
Dvorsky was doing the game.
And we didn't need to tell him to have
I
another
almost
dog.
just dropped a
Oh Lord.
local name. Okay, more.
So I don't mind senior referees as a rule. I like senior referees because they have feel for the game.
Which is nice.
Well, these two had no feel for that game whatsoever.
Well, they were probably in the same boat as we were. You guys are a bunch of clowns. I want to go home.
That
To
happens
be
too,
honest
right?
with you, that's you and I have umpired enough games. I used to do junior all the time back in the day when that was a gong show, and I just you'd call a big strike zone because otherwise I'm going to be here till midnight. And I miss my kids already. It's only the third inning.
That's not a strike zone. It's too big. Swing the bat.
And so game 2 then, Alman Arena.
Saturday night, the regular home
7
game. Like
o'clock.
I said, it won't be like it was last Saturday. This will be good.
No. Folks, we have a duty to call it the way that it was. We didn't want to sugarcoat last week's game, but this week it's not going to
No
be
amount
that
of
at
sugar
all.
would have made that game any better than it was.
No.
It was a gong show, but that was a one-off, and I believe that this game is going to
100%.
be because they have played twice. Stratford beat Petrolia both times. They were both close games.
Yeah.
Close-ish. The one in Petrolia was, I think, the first game of the year was a 4-2 game, and Petrolia had played in Elora the night before, and it was close for 2 periods, and then Stratford scored 2 or 3 goals.
Their
late.
plane got in late too. after
Yeah,
that.
travel's tough in the Super League. But this is playoffs, and the one thing you learn over the years, I've followed this game, this league since day one, as you all know. Playoffs are a different animal, and not just your normal different animal. Everybody shows up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All the guys show up. There's no, I just played last night. I'm playing. Everybody understands that the reason you are recruited to play in this league is to show up for playoff games.
Absolutely.
And last year's playoffs were unbelievable. There was the 6-game unbelievable series between Stratford and Alvinston. While that was going on, there was a great 7-game series between Tillsonburg and Tilbury.
Yeah.
And then the crazy 7-game final between Tillsonburg and Alvinston, which was to a packed house. Apparently, there was angry people outside the rink because they wouldn't let them in. They couldn't. Oh, yeah, the place was just, they were hanging from the rafters.
Yeah.
And we saw last year when you play Alvinston in the playoffs, they show up with busloads of people.
They're crazy. they travel well. I'll give them that. They're
they
nuts.
travel really well.
But they travel
Like
well.
you feel like a Jays game in
I
Seattle.
don't know if they're nuts more so than
They're all on weekend passes.
A little rough. A little rough.
It's a long bus ride.
Weekend
passes
They're
is
nuts.
probably.
When
I
you-
will say this: they certainly contributed to the coffers at the bar
Oh my God.
So-
because they showed
Holy.
up 90 minutes early.
Right.
They were
Well,
they were a
they
lot
Oh
of fun.
yeah,
I
that was the $3 drinks.
Yeah.
Right. Bring them back. Bring 'em.
So I'm guessing the point system is not involved in the playoffs. Like,
Oh yeah, you still can only dress 10
Is it
points.
really?
Yeah, and you get a team like Alvinston who have got, if I last remember, 22 total points on their roster, and one of them is the goalie Fulcher is 2 points, and so you really got to put some thought
Right.
into exactly.
And then they go and
who's
just
like
get
that.
Zach McCann. Like
No,
they're-
he's not.
Is
He's
he
not
done?
playing there yet. He's
Oh,
back at Western.
okay.
But then you look at a team like Elora, as good as they are, they've only got 3 or 4 points on their whole roster. So they can play whomever they want,
Right,
right?
right.
Stratford, I believe, has 12 total points, maybe 13 since
Okay.
they brought in Thiessen.
Yeah.
And so, there's still guys that are unavailable due to shift work. Some guys are cops. Some
Right.
guys are jail guards, and they can't work. They can't play because they got to work. So
Right.
I'll say one thing. That Tillsonburg team, that number 14 or 44 was it? Taylor, that huge defenseman.
44 Doherty, who is a three.
Oh, man.
He's a 3-point player. He's like 6'8".
He was
He's
massive.
phenomenal. Do you see how much he was on the ice? He probably played 40 minutes.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and when all
He
the
was
gong
always
shows,
out
all the
there.
gong show stuff's going around, he's just skating around laughing.
Well,
his ass
that's
off,
that's the
right?
other thing too, is that they're all playing push me, shove you. And Doherty says, "How about me?" And they're like, "No, no, I'm good,
They're
thanks."
looking up.
No, thank you.
No,
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Because like it's just a hard no.
Sounds
Is
like
your
we need
cell phone on?
Right.
sounds like we need Jack Tunney to run the
You couldn't get around the guy.
Maple
Every
Leaf
pass was
Wrestling.
100 feet right on the tape. He's awesome.
Billy
What a
Red
player.
Lions.
Oh.
They really, considering, keep in mind that, like I said earlier, Tilsonburg airmailed McQueen, who was their best player at the time, to Strathroy, and they're still this good. They might make some noise in the playoffs,
Yeah.
And I just think that other than the obvious reasons for me wanting Strathroy to beat Elora, that also means the potential of a Stratford Tilsonburg.
That would be
playoff
great.
series.
And
So we get-
Especially after
Stratford
that.
would get away from Alvinston until the finals.
Yep.
So we'll get to see number 37 celebrate like he won the Stanley Cup every time he gets a point.
Well, and I will say this in his defense: in the second point he got, won him the scoring title.
yeah, but
And it's Sheldon Thompson, who is a really good player. But yeah,
Who
he
did he-
celebrated like he was McDavid on Thursday night.
Who did he beat? McEwen? Or
McHugh, Feezy.
was it Feezy?
Yeah,
Was,
he had to score 2 points on Feezy, who played 14 games.
Oh wow.
He played 14 games.
Unbelievable.
And Thompson
I thought
played,
McEwen-
And carries on like that.
Yeah.
Thompson
Give me a
played.
break.
It was,
yeah.
We were all laughing. We're going.
We're
"Dude,
laughing
like,
at him because
come
he
on."
celebrated like it was like he was McDavid
Yeah.
on Thursday.
doing the
night.
Queen wave and, come
Yeah.
on.
What are you doing, dude?
Yeah, yeah.
How old is this
Figure
kid?
it
Kid, he's-
28.
See, that's
Oh, is that-
unacceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Fiji played like 8 less games.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's not even.
know.
it's
Why
not
would you
even
celebrate
close.
that?
To be exact, 9. He played
Yeah.
14, and Thompson played 23.
So learn how to act.
and he's acting like that.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, yeah.
comical.
That's as
Can't
bad
wait.
as the
Comical.
Oliver kid from Waterloo yesterday
Yes.
when he scored the shootout winner over St. Mary's, waving to the St. Mary's players. We
Poke
can't
the
wait.
bear.
Yep,
Poke
poke
the
the bear,
bear.
like you said
Right,
earlier, Brian.
right.
Yep, poke the bear.
Well,
yeah.
your
yeah.
coach would have your players, acting ideally and going, "Yep, just
Yeah,
Take numbers.
they already. Yep,
It's all
don't
good.
worry. They saw it and they put it in their back pocket.
Absolutely.
all right."
Yeah, you just can't do that stuff.
All right. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Just start the conversation.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening. Thank you, Razor, for
love
taking
it.
time out of your schedule to get here after full surgery this
Right?
morning.
Hey, that's what professionals do. So I don't know why you brought me, but I heard that's what pros do. So
Tylenol 3s kicked in.
You should have seen Jeff putting his headset on. I thought we should have just started and let him struggle with it for a while,
yeah,
but
yeah.
And Chester, thank you so much for coming on. We
Yeah.
love
Thanks,
when you're on.
Always a pleasure.
And the new fiber, Brian Hawley. Can't wait to hear what you have to say next week, for God's sake. Always a pleasure. Glad you're here. Thank
Always
you so
happy
much
to
for
be
coming.
on. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. I just love it here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
all right. Good night,
All
everybody.
right.
Cheers.
Wayward mind, lovesick blind.